Hello, everyone. Welcome to the May meeting of the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board. First on our agenda, I'd like to mention that the Managing Director, Mike Formby, has announced he's moving on to a private company. I know Mike has supported us with quite a few things in the past. If you see him, tell him hello and thank you. First on our agenda. Thank you. Thank you. First on our agenda is the vote to fill this vacancy in Sub-District 2. Do we have nominations to fill the position? Jacob. Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Nominate Jacob Weincheck. I'm sorry, I'll nominate Jacob Weincheck.
Okay, any other nominations? Any other nominations from board members? Seeing no nominations, no hands, nothing. Nominations are hereby closed for the position. Comments from board members? Comments? Yeah, just a second. First, Jacob, could you introduce yourself?
Aloha. Third time's the charm, right? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacob Winsek. Been a resident of Waikīkī for quite a few years now, the last 6 years. Been involved in the board with the community since 2020. And a little bit about myself and my background. I previously served active duty in the Navy, got out. I'm a civilian now. No more short hair. I also serve right now on the Public Safety Committee of the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board, and always look for a chance to give back to the community. The neighborhood, my fellow neighbors have been so good to me. I want to give back. I want to reciprocate. Waikīkī is a really great neighborhood. I care passionately about it, its success, and I hope that if I'm elected to the board, that I'll be able to continue to bring that same passion and care about the community to the board so we can have the best Waikīkī ever. Thank you.
I see a hand from Greg. Greg, do you have 2 minutes?
Thank you, Chair. I think the Chair is aware that OIP has rendered a written opinion on this agenda item. This agenda item is not properly on the agenda, and you've been informed that you should be deferring this this vote for this evening. 2 months ago, you placed it on agenda properly, where you mentioned that the public could come and, the position was open for any member of the public if they wanted to be on the board. Last month, you did not do that, and you still held a vote. And I didn't notice the agenda item as written last month. I didn't happen to pay close attention to it, but I did this month, and clearly so did OIP. So at this moment in time, again, it's a disservice to the public. It's a violation of the Sunshine Law if you move forward with this. That opinion came directly from OIP. I do have a copy of that. So we want to get into the weeds on that later, we can. Mr. Weinsick is the absolute last person I would ever want on any kind of a board, from my knowledge and experience and working with him and dealing with him and the misconduct that I've had to address under his direction, or on my condominium association, or when he was on the neighborhood board, or when I was on the neighborhood board and he wasn't, when he was personally harassing and attacking me. So I have clear evidence of all of that. Neighborhood Commission has that. This is the saddest moment, again, at the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board. This vote needs to stop. This is a violation of the Sunshine Law. You have a written opinion from OIP. Mahalo.
Thank you. Did I get a definition on that? I haven't seen anything from the Patrick?
Thank you, Chair. I'm Patrick Smith. I chair the Neighborhood Commission, and I haven't seen any opinion. Chair, I don't know if you've had a copy of that. And I've mentioned this to people in the past, if they get an OIP opinion, it is certainly the intent of the commission to enforce that, but we can't go on just that, a third party comment about something they said they got. You have to produce the evidence, and that needs to be done beforehand. So I think the vote is entirely appropriate. Usually in our guide, we have something called the neighbor test, if you're familiar with that. And that is if there's an agenda item and you ask your neighbor, hey, what do you think this is about? And they can reasonably tell you, then it's okay. And you're free to act on it. And to me, the agenda item is very clear. So I would say, in my personal opinion, I don't have the commission's, they didn't back us up because we didn't know about this, that I think you're fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We're not going to get into a big discussion on this. Board members, any other comments, discussion? Don't see anything from the board.
If I
members.
could share, I have a copy of the opinion that was directed to you.
I'm sorry. I didn't recognize you.
Okay, when I call your name, please say Wincheck. Amu?
I have a written statement from OIP that is copied directly to Chair Finley.
Say Wincheck. Want to call your name?
Abstain.
Okay, abstain. Anderson?
Winsec.
Okay. Nordahl?
Wincheck.
Okay. Lisa here. D. Orazio?
Wincheck.
Okay, Erdercheck?
Jacob Wincheck.
Felix? Abstain. Okay. Finley?
Jacob,
Hensky?
No.
Either abstain or, okay, abstain, okay. Okay, Hike?
Wincheck.
Okay, Daniel Jacob?
Winsec.
Ken Jacob?
Winsec.
Nate Sirota?
Jacob Wincheck.
Smith?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, and is Worth online? Oh, no, I already found Nate. Okay. Okay, so the total vote for Wincheck is 9 yes and 4 abstain. He is a board member. Oh, well, I need to do the oath.
Jacob, please come forward to get the oath.
I'd like to ask, in the future, if we have a seat that goes like this, unacknowledged, can we make that an open seat since we have somebody from NCO? Okay.
First on our agenda is the Honolulu Fire Department.
Hello. My name is firefighter Kiahi Latham. I am on ladder 7, first watch here at the Waikīkī Fire Station. And this will be our neighborhood board report for May of 2026. The statistics that I will provide represent confirmed number of incidents in our geographical area for our previous month. For more details on the incidents and related mapping information, please visit the fire response search tool on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the news and info tab. And if you have any other questions, please email hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. So our incident statistics for April of 2026, for fires, we've had 0 structure fires, 0 wildland/brush fires, 3 nuisance fires, which include rubbish fires outside of a structure or a vehicle, 2 cooking fires. Yeah, good. 2 cooking fires and 16 activated alarms, which have no fire. When it comes to emergencies, we had 160 medical emergencies, 2 motor vehicle collisions involving a pedestrian, 1 motor vehicle crash, 0 mountain rescues, 1 ocean rescue, and 2 hazardous material incidents. Our fire safety tip for this month refers to wildfire prevention and preparedness. Hawaii is entering a period of increased wildfire risk. With dry conditions, tall grass, and shifting winds, one spark is all it takes. Most wildfires are human-caused and preventable. Take action today with these tips. Clear dry brush and vegetation around your house. Never park on any dry grass. Hot exhaust can ignite it. Avoid activities that create sparks or heat during dry, hot, windy weather. Stay aware of weather and fire conditions. And for more information, please visit fire.honolulu.gov and hawaiiwildfire.org. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, well, I guess you noticed Bob left the meeting, so I will be the pinch hitter tonight. So with everybody's cooperation and a little bit of luck, we will hopefully have a smooth meeting. So next up is the Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Omarad, Waikīkī, District 6. Polling stats are for April 2026. Robberies this month, we had 2. Previous was 3. Burglaries, 6. Previous was 5. Thefts was 126, down from 166. UMVs, 8, down from 13. Assaults, 38, down from 43. Sex crimes, 14. Previous month, we had 7. Bikes and skateboards on sidewalks. This month, we had 0. Previous, we had 3. Speeding, we had 19 citations for this month. Previous month was 11. Parking, we had 1,556. Previous was 2,520. Loud muffler prohibited noise, we had 2. Previous was 7. Park closures, we had 38 citations, 16 arrests. Previous, we had 65 citations and 15 arrests. Total calls for service was 4,160. Previous was 4,356. As far as DUIs or OVUIs, we had 6 for the month, and previous we had 10. That's it for the stats. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Questions for the police department? Catherine, I think you.
First of all, I want to thank you for making this. And I just forgot my whole thought. I'm stunned by the number of police officers here tonight. It just threw me for a loop. I'll come back to you.
Okay. I'd like to introduce our major for the district, Major Paul Okamoto.
Hi, good evening. My name is Paul Okamoto. I'm the major for District 6. I promised last month that I'd come back and talk to you guys about, there was a question about skateboards and bicycles on sidewalks. And so I looked it up. It's actually revised ordinance 15-4.6, use of bicycles, skateboards, roller skates, and similar devices restricted. So basically within the entire Waikīkī Peninsula, including the Alawai, it's prohibited. So I refer you to that. For the person that asked that last month, it is actually prohibited. The only place that you can actually ride them is actually in the sidewalk. I mean, sorry, in the crosswalk. You can't ride them on the roadways either. So 15-4.6, use of bicycles, skateboard, roller skates, and similar devices restricted. That's the revised ordinance. There was another question last month about the buses that are parked on Kapahulu. And that they were sort of interfering with the crosswalk and it was a danger to pedestrians. So we did reach out to OTS. We had our admin officer call, talk to the supervisor, and they are aware of it. I'm sure that they've modified their parking behavior. So that's been I'm hoping that's a little bit better. And also we've had some concern about the Fort DeRusi Beach Park area. Specifically the homeless and also some of the peddling that's been going on there on Friday nights with the fireworks going on. So we did 2 consecutive Fridays in a row. We did some enforcement action with our state law enforcement partners, and we made tons of arrests and we gave tons of citations out there. And also I'm happy to report that the homeless population that was sort of living on that beach over there has been reduced drastically. Last count, I think a couple days ago, I think there was maybe 1 or 2 empty tents on the beach. So that's some fairly good news. I do want to also report that we did a homeless point in time count in Waikīkī, and the major area of commerce, which is Waikīkī proper, I guess all along Kalakaua Avenue, they reported a 91% reduction in homeless people living in that area since September of 2022, where we saw 111 people back then. Now they only counted 10. So I really do want to credit the officers and also all of the social workers that have been going out to get them to get the services and sort of move out of that area, because it is important for commerce. And also, there was an article about the helmets for mopeds. And so we created a flyer and we distributed it to all of the moped rental companies in the area. And so far, we've been giving warnings for the past several days, but that will be changing to citations. So I think that's important, right? It's on the books, we should enforce it. So that's all I got from last month. Any questions?
You have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I do. I was contacted by the Chun brothers regarding Cartwright, and a fire inspection was done a year ago of the road. And he informed me that the property Miki Iolana was infringing on the road. So I called the fire chief or the man that was the inspector on this property. He said, in fact, the cars that are parking across from the Miki Iolana on Cartwright are illegal. And he should not be, and he's received a notice of this, and he should not be charging or parking cars. Now, this past weekend, we could barely get into our parking space on Cartwright. What are you guys going to do about that?
Is this the sort of quote unquote private road?
I'm sorry?
Is that the private road? Is it one of those private,
It's that Cartwright that you guys have been.
like Lemon Road, same thing?
Right.
Okay. I'd have to check into that, but
Would you please?
yeah, I'll report back to you.
But just to inform you, the inspector told me that the property Miki Iolana is totally legal.
Okay.
It is the opposites, and it's for the fire department, so they have to have 20 feet to be able to pass 2 fire trucks on the road. And that's not happening.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if I can get you an answer. We might not be able to get you a definitive answer, but I'll check into it for next month.
Okay, Daniel, I see you got your hand up, and then after that, we can go down a row. Anybody over there who has a question, we can cover that. But Daniel?
Yep. Hi, Major. Daniel Jacob.
Hi.
I was really encouraged when you first came around and started talking about how you wanted to enforce the loud muffler noise. I was a little taken back just a moment ago when you said in regards to the helmet law that if it's on the books, we should enforce it. You went from 7 down to 2. Is there going to be a continued effort to address the loud mufflers in Waikīkī? And when are we going to see that?
I think for the past several months, I think we've increased enforcement on that. And I think this month has been just a bit anomaly. We've been fairly busy doing other things, but I would just want to assure you that it's not forgotten, and we will continue to, because I know it's a big deal for a lot of the residents. It is a priority for us, and we'll do better next month. We'll come up with better numbers.
I think the max number I've seen since you've been around is like 13. I'd like to see that number get up to 30, which we've seen on this board. I can show you those documents that 3 months in a row, I think there was 30. It was about 2.5 years ago. So I'd like to see much higher numbers as well.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Okay, any other board members on that side of the room have any questions? Melissa, Joanne? Okay, we have a couple people online. Anybody here in the audience? Please. We'll take the live people and then we'll get to the people online after that.
Hi, thank you for everything you do for Waikīkī. I was wondering if anybody ever walks along Kalakaua and cites or notes all the people who are using reproduced music while they're sitting there doing whatever talent they do, because they're not supposed to use reproduced music.
Amplified music you're talking about.
Amplified, but reproduced. So it's something that they're not doing themselves, like dancing to a song or playing along with something or having it going while they're doing something else.
Sure.
So I think our chair Waters knows very well that it's against the law, right? You know that
So
ordinance.
for sure, I think we've been citing them for amplified music. Also, there's a drummer in front of the IMP, right? And so I think we've cited him before for sit live violation, because technically that's a sit live violation.
I wouldn't want to work at Maui Brewing.
So, I mean, we try to get creative. We'll try to find ordinances that work.
Okay.
And when we see them, we have been enforcing them. In fact, today, I know we gave out a few citations. Coming here, I didn't see the drummer.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll continue to
Okay.
do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, anybody else in the live audience here? Have a question? Nobody else? Oh, I'm sorry, sure.
Is there, somebody had asked last month on Kalakaua about the aesthetics beauty store people that hang out on the sidewalk and then they, I think it was Catherine brought it up. They give you the samples and they. Yeah, did we figure out anything on that or if they?
Can you refresh my memory on that?
There's a cosmetic store on the corner of Kalakaua and Kapiolani. And they have salesmen and women out there, and they're very aggressive, persuasive, to be nice. They've actually followed my son halfway home. They've asked him where he lives, and then they force a little packet of cream in his hand. And so far, this week, he's come back with about 15 of them. And he goes to Starbucks a lot. But nonetheless, I've been approached, and this was many years ago, but they'd sell it for about $500 for a small little packet. And this has been constant. It hasn't gone away.
Okay, I see another live hand, John.
Let me see if there's an action ordinance that covers that. I don't know if it's a peddling ordinance. Right, it might be a peddling infraction, but I'll get back to you on that.
Just to follow up on that, I believe there's an attorney general action on that. There's a story on that. That technique, not accusing any of these legitimate people of doing this, but that's an Israeli mafia operation. It's all over the country and the world. And it's a bait and switch operation where they aggressively lure people in to sell them some magical crap from the Dead Sea or something. It's complete fraud. And it is investigated here by the Attorney General. In my experience as a reporter, both in Florida and New York, it's run by the Israeli mob. Not to say that they're running it here. Of course, these people are all legitimate citizens and everything else. Not to say that they are, but that's what it's about.
Thank you, John.
Okay,
I'm Catherine. I have, I wonder if the corner here, right at Kapahulu in front of the fire station, that's like a launching site every night for very modified mufflers on motorcycles, electric bikes and whatnot. In the beginning of Waikīkī, where the Asia-Pacific Security Studies campus is, there's a $73 fine for
Signboard.
noise. Yeah, maybe one could be there because, you know, on the way in and on the way out up Kapahulu around 11:30 p.m. every night, especially on the weekends. It's very lively. Thank you.
okay, let's get to some of the people online. I see, okay, we'll call on Nate and then followed by Greg.
Hey, Major. Hey, thank you for the information. Real quick, what was the number of the ordinance that you cited for the skateboarding?
That's revised ordinance 15-4.6, use of bicycles, skateboards, roller skates, and similar devices restricted.
Okay, thank you. Second, nice job on the video for the enforcement down at Fort DeRusi. Any idea like the kind of frequency that'll happen, or is it based off of complaints?
Yeah, we did 2 weeks in a row, and we hope to partner up, not maybe at that intensity because we did, deploy a lot of officers for that initially, the first week, but we plan to do follow-up, just so that we can get people to sort of change the culture there and to stop the peddling, and also take care of the homeless problem.
Gotcha. And then final question, probably a little bit more involved. What's your understanding on the enforcement of some of the fire dancing and flow art community that frequents the Kapilani Park in the natatorium area?
Did you say fire dancing?
I've heard of them periodically being cited, and a lot of people seem to think that their First Amendment rights are being infringed on with a culturally appropriated practice. So just wondering to get your opinion on that.
I believe on state land I think there's like an open flame sort of administrative rule, but I'd have to look into that specifically because I just don't know. But I'll get back to you next month and I'll see if I can find an answer for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Greg?
Aloha, thank you, Acting Chair. Aloha officers that are all there today. I know there's a number of you. I had the opportunity actually at a public meeting to speak directly to the acting chief and some of the deputy assistant chiefs for the HPD. And what I'd like to just ask one question. Going forward, the selection process is now narrowed down to 3 candidates. One is local, 2 mainland, one is former San Francisco, where I used to live for 11 years. He's retired from last year, so I guess he decided to come out of retirement pretty quickly to get back into the game. So my only question is, do every, and it's going to be to every HPD officer, or if not, the subset of officers, does every HPD officer get to provide input into the selection process that would then be seen by the commission? And if so, is that an open input, or is it anonymous, or is it possibly a hybrid, or you get one opportunity, you can either be publicly open about your comments and concerns or provide them anonymously if you're concerned about some kind of a retribution later if you didn't select the right person that becomes the chief? So that's a very pointed question, but I think it's very important to know that the people that serve us and serve the public have the input to who's their best leader. So if you could answer that, I would appreciate it. Mahalo.
I'm trying to be very careful about that question. I really don't know if the Police Officers Union Chopo actually is doing something about it. I don't know if they're actually asking their members who they prefer. I know there was talk about that, but I haven't seen anything recently. So I guess the answer is no, that there isn't anything out there currently that I know of where officers can actually opine about who they'd like as chief.
Okay, thank you for that. And then would you know the date or dates? There may be 2 open public meetings. There's at least one coming up. Hopefully I haven't missed it, but is there a date that's coming up for the public to themselves opine on who they think should be the new police chief?
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not involved in the process, so I don't know if there's, I know there's a public like a televised forum and there's other things coming up, but I'm not sure of, I'm not sure of those dates that you're talking about.
No worries. We'll get that later from one of the elected officials. Thank you so much, officer.
Okay, I see somebody named DJ has a hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I live in Waikīkī on Kuhio, and my neighbors and I have been struggling with an issue at the bus stop. We have a lot of homeless that hang out at the bus stop, and I do understand that they need a place to stay or sleep, but it has become extremely disruptive. There's one gentleman in particular who does fentanyl, drinks, and as a result, he defecates, urinates, vomits, screams day and night, and he had disappeared for a few months. It seems that he went to the North Shore and Kailua, but he's back. So he makes it really difficult for us. He wakes us up several times a night. Working from home is a challenge too because he'll be cursing and I'll be in Zoom meetings, and same goes for my neighbors. And then here we have those background slurs coming from him. And we've called the police many times to come and have him removed, but the guy keeps coming back. And I do understand that he has rights, but so do we. So I'm not sure how we're supposed to deal with this, other than keep calling and then the issue doesn't get addressed. I did try to call on different organizations to get help for him. He's not really interested in seeking help. All he wants is money or to buy booze and drugs, and demands that we go to the store and get him cigarettes. So it's not, I'm personally not equipped or knowledgeable enough to be able to deal with whatever his addictions or mental illness might be. And I'm no physician to be able to diagnose him either. But it's extremely disruptive, and not being able to sleep makes it hard to function the next day.
Can you tell me where on Kuhio this is? Is there a cross street?
He's at the bus stop in front of 2420 Kuhio, right across the Pacific Monarch and close to the Bamboo Hotel, but across the street.
Okay.
By actually the Alacora Museum, the closest bus stop.
Okay, if you sleep at the bus stop, there's an ordinance for that. We can enforce that.
Thank you.
And we'll look into doing some outreach and some cleanup operations in that area. And
I think it's bus number 3.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that for you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, it looks like that's it for HPD. All right, anything else? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I see the Board of Water Supply. Do we have a written report, or is Dominic here? Okay, no. Okay, then we'll move on. We now come to citizen concerns. So anybody gets their 2 minutes, please come up, state. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's not on the agenda. So, hello, Representative Bellotti. How are you? It's so good to see you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lou Erdeshek. My name is Della Albalati. I am a candidate for Congress, and I'm visiting as many neighborhood boards as I can. This is actually my second time here, but I especially wanted to come here today because I'm going to be hosting a town hall, a community dinner and talk story next Monday at Alawai Elementary School for the University Alawai Waikīkī area. So I really want to thank the opportunity for being able to introduce myself and just make myself available. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that. I think the Neighborhood Commission is saying that since you are a candidate for office, if there's any other candidates in the room who would like the opportunity to introduce themselves, we're certainly happy to. I guess there's kind of like an equal time rule or something like that. So anyone else, please feel free.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Liang, and I'm running for City Council. I won't speak about my platform, but I have some literature available in the back, and I'll be around after the meeting to take any questions. Just a little bit about myself. I've worked for City and County Budget and Fiscal Services for the last 6 years. I'm a working class person looking to represent working class people. Thank you.
Aloha kako, everyone. My name is Bula Eastman. I'm running for the Waikīkī District, number 24. And my website is bulaeastman.com. Look forward to working with everyone here.
Aloha mai kako. I'm Tara Malia Gregory. I'm also running for City Council District 4. I've been a resident of Kapahulu. I've lived on the Alawai, and now I'm in East Honolulu. One of my main concerns right now is just the budgeting and the government overreach, specifically on the Konolo storms. Just really been analyzing some of the things that I was really able to witness with Chair Waters and some of the meetings that came up with the spending. A lot of what I talk about and I really hang my hat on is the ability of preparedness. We get hit with $100 million at the end of something, and I don't think there's one person to point a finger at. It's just the overall inability of communication and preparedness. When the Lahui and the community can come together on the front end, where is that help, right? In the aftermath of a thing, and that seems to be a recurring thing for about 60 plus years. My parents, my dad's a Palolo boy, St. Louis, and my mom, Kaimuki High School, and they said that this is a recurring thing. I just want to encourage you. I did send an email to the neighborhood board just on what we did during the Kona low storms to mobilize not only Waikiki, but all the way to East Honolulu. Within 12 to 48 hours, we had an app up. You're welcome to go there right now. It's malamamap.org. What we were able to do was say, if you have a need, sign in here. That's malamamap.org again. And if you want to contribute, sign in here. We were able to have 4 hubs, 2 from Koko Marina, 1 from Oahu, right there at King's Oahu, and then a fourth one was at the Manoa after that flood. It really just came down to communication and the ability for the Lahui to have communication and preparedness already. I know resiliency hubs is a big word that's been coming up the past few years in the amount of $2 million per neighborhood. We are the resiliency. Mahalo for the time to speak. I have literature and I will speak to anybody in the back. Thank you for the time to speak.
No, thank you so much for coming. Anybody else who's running or anybody who's not running and wants to come up and talk about a citizen concern, now is your opportunity to do that, certainly. Sure. Oh, yeah, we do have online. No, we'll get to. Oh, yeah, of course.
Again, I'm Patrick Smith. I chair the neighborhood commission. This really wasn't the time for political activities, but there is a memo I think sent out, but it's already done. The reason I did want to come back tonight is that there were a number of individuals on the board that asked me to take to the commission and get a response about maybe deleterious behavior, which is a fancy way of saying wasting time, or disruptive individuals. And I did talk to the chair and the vice chair who's running the meeting tonight about some strategies. Everybody is entitled to their 2 minutes, but they need to stick to the item at hand. And, we have to be very careful of decorum issues. If a board member feels that these are being violated, like they're not sticking to the agenda, they're going off on a tangent, you can call for a point of order. I would ask you to use that sparingly and only, one at a time. In other words, don't keep doing it, different people, but then the chair will rule on that. The chair has to rule on a point of order, and that's really about it. But basically, to a large extent, you have to allow members of the public to speak their piece, but like I said, they have to speak on the item and they only get their time. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Representative Tam.
Thank you. I will keep it short. My name is Adrian Tam. I love representing you and I try my best, and I'm running for re-election.
No, we're going to get to the online in a minute. Any other people here who want to come up under citizen concerns? Okay, if not, we'll go to the online. Looks like we have Laura Ruby and then Greg Masakian. So Laura?
Yes, hello. Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Lewis and all the board members. Tonight, I'd like in my 2 minutes to present a resolution that I'd like to have you, Vice Chair, present at the next meeting for putting into the agenda and having people vote on it. The title is Resolution for an Inexpensive, Quickly Realized Conveyance Across the Alawai Canal. That is a ferry. Now, you may not have been thinking about how easy it is to cross the Alawai Canal, but this is a way to do it. And you would have the shortest distance. You would have an open air conveyance that would let you see all of the views of Diamond Head and the Ko'olaus and everything else. And you would follow the already existing transit, the bus way of thinking about things. It would be a little bit It would like be a bus, but it'd be wider than a bus. Really have one operator. The Holo Pass would do quite well, and it will be only bicycles and pedestrians. That way, there will be no potential motor skateboarders or motor mopeds or anything like that. And it will, the people would just stand or sit, and the bicyclists would just hold on to their bicycles. Think exactly of the way a bus works, where the bicyclists put their bicycle on the front of the bus, and then people who need assisted help with wheelchairs or whatever, the ramp comes out and carefully brings them right into the bus. And that is already a very easy thing to think about, and an ease of anybody with disabilities will be very, very easily taken care of. You will not have to go up any kind of ramp. The ADA ramp will be extremely small, a very slight incline. And there'll be safety on all sides with the docks being there. And there would be minimal building of anything on the canal or anywhere else. Is my 2 minutes almost up? So Vice Chair Lewis, I would like to think that you could present it next time, and I will send it to everybody.
No, thanks. I think we're getting close to the 2 minutes. No, thank you. I don't set the agenda. Bob, as the chair, sets the agenda for the next meeting, but I'm certainly happy to talk to him about it. Just so I'm clear, because I know you've advocated for a very tiny footprint. Are you now, instead of advocating for that, are you suggesting that this ferry would be in lieu of a bridge? Is that the position you're taking now?
I'm not taking any position right at this resolution for anything called a bridge or large bridge or small bridge or anything. I'm talking about a conveyance that would be inexpensive and very easily crossable from one place to another, whether it be the school children at Alawai School, or whether it be people that are handicapped individuals getting on and off a conveyance. This would be even easier than getting on and off a bus. And you could see that it would go in a regular schedule quickly, moving from one side to another. And,
so you're saying this could be complementary to a bridge, not necessarily.
There could be three ferries in different places. That there wouldn't be any limit as to how many.
Okay, here's my suggestion, Laura. Why don't you, if you have a draft resolution, why don't you email it to Bob?
I did already.
And then he'll then go from there. Okay.
I'll also email it to all of you folks. But I was going to ask if you would be the presenter. I think I'll ask Patrick Smith if that's the appropriate way. We have to have a board member.
Why don't you email it to Bob, and then we'll.
Well, Patrick Smith is right there, and I was wondering if he could say that it is necessary to have a sponsorship on the board, or is it not necessary? It just can be put on the agenda. There was another man doing things with empty lots.
Well, you got to start with the draft document to begin with. So I
gave it to Bob already.
Okay. All right, then why don't you circulate it? Okay.
But
okay.
For everybody concerned, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Aloha, Acting Chair and Neighborhood Board. Again, Greg Masikian. I'm just going to make one comment on Sunshine Law. Sunshine Law is not specifically on agenda for this evening. And as you just heard from Representative Della Abalati, who's going to try to run for a national seat, she was chairing the Good Government Caucus. I still have, I guess if it continues, a seat as a community member of as president of Kokua Council. So we have a lot of contributing groups. And what I really continue to see, and it's very concerning to me, is this neighborhood board is not adhering to the neighborhood plan and in fact the Sunshine Law portion of that's referenced in the neighborhood plan, with special training that everybody's supposed to participate with. I attended a meeting today, unrelated, with the Hawaii Hurricane Relief Fund, HHRF board, and they had some items on agenda, and they decided that I would be able to speak at the very end. I wasn't able to unmute until the end, They voted on a number of things without me giving input as a member of the public. They had to reverse everything. And so now they have to move those to a future meeting. So, you know, I'm looking right at the email that was sent actually to NCO. So Patrick Smith, who just spoke a moment ago, should have a copy of this from Executive Secretary or someone at the NCO office. It was sent yesterday from OIP regarding the earlier vote. But the Sunshine Law is the key here. And when this board continues to violate the Sunshine Law and the Neighborhood Commission isn't listening to, I mean, you don't need this letter to know that the way that wording is incorrect. If you go back 2 months, you'll see the way it was worded to allow public participation. And then you took that out. So that's my concern. And I would
Okay,
appreciate
all right. All right,
on-
all right. You've kind of hit your 2 minutes, so.
Thank you.
Okay, we're done?
I'm done, and I hope that you address that going forward and that gets reversed and you're going to need to have it on agenda again. Thank
Well,
you.
I think since you claim to be well-versed in the Sunshine Law, if you think there's any violations, then I think you know how to proceed.
I do.
So feel
And I
free
will.
to exercise whatever legal rights you think you're entitled to.
I will.
Okay, anybody else under citizen concerns? Yes.
Hello. It is a concern at Kuhio Beach. There are two Beach Boy stands. So there's the Duke statue, and then there's a stand over there and a stand over here by the showers. I had asked in the past, and I'm sorry, I don't know her name over there. You may have addressed this. How much they are paying for the permits for those stands, as well as, I know that they are not supposed to be pre-setting the umbrellas and the chairs, but they do. And it really impacts access to the beach, as well as the fact that there are two canoes. If anybody frequents Kuhio Beach, so there's the stack going toward the ocean of these square sand thingies. What do you call them? I don't know. But so it's right, if we're facing the ocean, it's those sand thingies. And then there are two canoes, and they're always there. Other than when someone is in the, they're taking out people on these canoes. And it really impacts how, whether it's visitors or it's residents, how we can access the beach.
Okay. Okay, thank you. If there are no more citizen concerns, we'll go on to the, Catherine.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
You just testified about the beach, but what is it you exactly want us to do? What's the thing you want us to address?
As a citizen, I would like transparency. How much are they paying for those permits? And is it legal to have those canoes always parked there?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we will move on to item 5, unfinished business. We have final legislative report. Jillian?
Yeah, tonight I'll just give a very quick final legislative report. So this session, our board had voted to either support or oppose 12 different bills moving through our state legislature. Some of them never got heard, other ones got fairly far. Collectively, we submitted 13 different pieces of testimony, but unfortunately, 0 bills that our board was following did end up passing final reading. That doesn't mean that there are no bills that would benefit our community, but that's just the update I have for all of you, that the bills that we did vote to support or oppose didn't end up passing.
Yeah, I was very happy to serve with Julian on the legislative committee, and I think she did an excellent job and deserved a lot of credit for that. And I guess it's not that uncommon. If you recall, back in January, we started out with a big list and we couldn't figure out how many to support or what, and then you're down to like almost nothing. I mean, this is not uncommon, obviously, at the legislature. The one thing I was going to add was that there was a resolution, Senate Concurrent Resolution 58, which did pass. The board never endorsed the reso because we sort of didn't get to resos, but this concerns the towing issue at the Alawai Harbor, where we had written, if you recall, we did write a letter to DONR supporting the concern of the residents about the parking citation structure, that cars were being towed without warning or an opportunity for a ticket. So some of those advocates did take the issue to the legislature and did pass a resolution basically urging DLNR to do more or less what we as a board had asked them to do in a letter, to sort of develop a structure, a ticketing structure, and, don't shoot first and ask questions later. Basically have a more graduated approach. That did pass, but other than that, yeah, but it was interesting. And I mean, and Jillian did do a lot of testimony, and I think, regardless of the outcome of some of these things, I mean, our voice was heard. I think there was no question about that people did listen to what we said. And I think we can be proud of the effort that, collectively we all did last year. I know I saw Tim up there a couple of times on some bills, so thank you. Okay, that's item A. Under B, we have a leadership reorganization of the Public Safety and Civil Defense Committee. And so I'm again going to ask Jillian and Tim if you could explain what it is that you're proposing to do so people can consider that.
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion as a member of the Public Safety Committee that Jillian Anderson, who's currently serving as chair, would become a member, and I, as a current member, would become the new chair of the Public Safety Committee.
What does this involve? I don't understand.
Yeah, just to give some more context, the reasoning behind this, the next agenda item is to propose the formation of a legislative committee. So ideally, I would like to spearhead that and then have Tim take the reins of the Public Safety Committee, and to reorganize the Public Safety Committee that requires a vote of the board.
Yes, it's my understanding from talking with Tim and Jillian that the sort of the genesis of this is item C, which is a more permanent legislative committee. And I think we all know we've kind of had a bit of an ad hoc approach over the years to legislation, and I mean, we'll get to that, but I think the proposal is to have a more standing committee throughout the year to follow the city council that Jillian was proposing to chair. And so in order to do that, she was going to sort of step down from the responsibility of the public safety chair so she could work on that. And at the same time, spread some responsibility around. And I think that's what we're getting at. So, well,
I'd like to second Tim's motion.
okay. Any questions or discussion on it? Is that, Greg, you have discussion on it or
Yeah, I have a comment, but I actually had my hand up for the previous agenda item. I was just hoping to ask one question to Jillian, and nobody recognized me.
You wanted to ask a question?
Could I start with that very quickly? I just wanted to ask the question regarding the bills that didn't make it through. If any of them made it to conference committee, and if there was any, if not, then they're POW. But if any did, was there any additional reach out through emailing and lobbying to try to get support? So that was just a question on the previous. And then I have a comment on this one also after that.
Yes, 2 of our bills did make it to conference committee. One was actually Rep. Tam's bill, House Bill 1588, for the noise pilot program for detecting noise and sending out citations. I did send an email to all the committee members, conference committee members, the week of conference, letting them know about that bill and how our board had voted to support it and provided testimony in the past. And then the other one, I'm sorry, I don't have the bill number on me, but it was asking the office on homelessness to create reports annually and submit them to the legislature regarding efforts to reduce homelessness and how the resources are being used. So in both of those instances, all the conference committee members were contacted with the board stance.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll just add one comment to that. For the board and the members of the public, it's very important that when these bills go through public hearing committees and they get to conference committee, that you still reach out to your legislators to let them know that you either support or don't support, to move them forward, because they're not done until they're all the way through and the final reading. And by doing that reach out, you can actually get results. I got some results on one nomination that I let senators know I didn't approve of, and I got 5 no's and 1 with reservations on a 1-day notice of my letter. With that said, going back to this change, again, I'm concerned about sunshine law, and I'm just going to make this comment. And if Patrick Smith is still in the audience, hopefully he hears me. If this was pre-discussed about these motions coming up today in the legislative committee, which I was the one who had suggested to do that early on last year, and they were discussed by more than 2 neighborhood board members, that's a sunshine law concern. Apparently, from what the acting chair just said, he was aware, the 2 members that just spoke were aware, and I'm assuming because it's on agenda that Chair Finley was aware of what was going on, but there's already 3, so there's maybe 4. That's a concern. And the members that are sitting today, if they knew about it in advance, then that's another concern, because this is for a vote. That's a sunshine law concern. And you all should be aware of this. You all should take your training over. And that's a concern I'm sharing, because I keep seeing this over and over and over again.
Okay, well,
That's it.
Patrick is here, so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that the motion on the agenda to reorganize the leadership doesn't violate the sunshine law by itself. These are standing committees that were formed, so any standing committee has to follow the sunshine law under the current law. So it goes without saying. So I'm not sure what sunshine law violation you're speculating about.
One committee doesn't exist, Lou. There's only one committee that exists. One you're trying to form.
I'm
And
sorry?
you're forming a new committee, and you're predestined to decide who these
Okay, well,
chairs
right now we're on item B to reorganize the leadership, and then number C would be forming a new committee, but the formation of the committee is on the agenda, so that complies with sunshine law. The public is on notice that we're proposing to do that. And then once the committee is formed, if it's formed, then it's going to have to continue to comply with sunshine law, just like any standing committee of a neighborhood board would. So I don't see what your issue is.
again, being pre-notified of what these boards. That's the
Okay,
concern.
I think we've heard the concern sufficiently, yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions on the motion to item B, reorganize the public safety leadership? Okay, people ready to vote?
Who we're voting for?
First, you're going to vote on item B. Yeah, and then you would vote on item C, that's correct. So, pardon?
Asking what the motion is.
I think it was your motion?
No.
Okay, all right, you want to repeat the motion, Tim? Sure.
The motion was, bottom line, me and Jillian would swap. We're both currently members of the Public Safety Committee. She is currently chair. I'm currently member. She would like to remain on the committee as member, and I would serve as chair.
Okay, and you seconded that motion, Rob?
I did second.
Okay, you still want to second it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Everybody ready to vote on it? Okay. We need a roll call, or can you just raise your hand? Huh?
I'll just do a roll call. Okay, when I call your name, please say yes or abstain. Amu?
Yes.
Okay, Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, Nordahl?
Yes.
Okay, no, she's not here. D'Orazio?
Yes.
Okay, Erdős?
Yes.
Okay, Felix?
Yes.
Okay, Hensky?
Yes.
Pike?
Yes.
Jacob? Daniel?
Yes.
Ken Jacob?
Yes.
Sirota?
Aye. Yes.
Okay. Smith?
Yes.
And Jacob Weinschott? Yes. That's 13. The motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so then we'll move to item C, formations. And Jillian, do you want to talk a little bit about, what you envision this committee is going to do and so forth, so people could have an understanding as to what they're voting on?
Sure. So the agenda says proposing the formation of a 2027 state and city legislation engagement committee. Ideally, it would start tonight. It wouldn't be just for 2027. But as you can remember from our previous meetings, there's so much legislation, particularly as it pertains to the state legislature, that it cannibalizes a lot of our meeting times here, and we really can't get into the nitty gritty. And as well, our board really hasn't been taking much focus on the city council and providing testimony there, which has a year-round committee hearings. So the proposal here is to be able to have a dedicated committee for us to be able to have separate time for us to look at what's happening in city council, maybe come up with ideas that we can propose to our state legislators prior to session. We can get a better handle on things as they get introduced, and to then be able to bring these ideas back to the board at large to vote to either provide testimony in support or opposition of things moving through our city and state committees, and just to be able to really let our voice be heard beyond just our meetings once a month here.
Okay. Members have, let me see if the members have any questions first. And any members have any questions of Jillian about, you look like you want to ask something.
I just want to clarify. So doing this committee, I think is a great idea. Will you also be informing the public with this committee?
Yeah, so this would be under the Sunshine Law. We'd have agendas with proper public notice, and they'd be open to the public to participate.
Thank you.
No, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, no.
Okay, John.
Yeah, Lou, you and I discussed this. I think this is a good idea, but what I suggest, every season, there's 8,000 bills or whatever. It takes up so much of our time. I think this committee should boil it down to maybe the 2 or 3 things we want to fight for. And we'll take, like you guys, that's your job, is to decipher what the best bills are, to be in favor of or against in terms of what we want in Waikīkī, instead of having a meeting that's 8 hours long talking about, 300 bills. Like, boil it down to the nitty gritty, the really important ones. And the other thing I suggest, after testifying several times against bail reform and other things for several years now, it might help if you have a nice letterhead, and because there's people who live in like closets at the legislature, I believe, and they have nice letterheads. And they don't do anything else with their life, but they live in a closet and they have a nice letterhead, and their letter gets testimony first. So maybe if we have a nice letterhead, they'd pay more attention. Thank you.
Hey, hang on. Man, are you just standing up, or you want to ask a question?
I wanted to ask John a question.
Oh, the next agenda. Okay,
I
got it.
wanted to ask John a question.
Pardon?
Will you make our letterhead for us, John?
I'm a really bad artist. I can't write or anything. I just, well, whatever, whoever's got the talent in that, you can knock them dead, but like I said, there's people there who do nothing but live in a closet there. They don't have an organization, but they call themselves a coalition of Greater Hawaii, and it's one person, but they have a nice letterhead. And a lot of the leaders listen to them because they have a nice letterhead, and they say they're a coalition, but it's just one person.
Well, and also, John, my understanding would be that this committee would have to comply with Sunshine Law, and would have meetings would be open to the public, so that whether somebody is actually a member of this standing committee or not, so somebody like yourself could come and give input into this committee as they're meeting, And which I mean, I think is a great idea. I mean, the intent never was, I mean, in the old days, I kind of did it by myself, right? But I mean, the intent never was just for one or two people to kind of do it all. The intent was that the legislative committee would reflect ideas and concerns that came from the community. And so, I think that if you want to be included in any meetings, I mean, that certainly is going to happen. Okay. Okay, no, anybody else have any questions or comments on that item C? Okay.
May I address
okay,
membership?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Jillian, you're very impressive and I support you wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for representing our community with so much dedication and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, is there a motion? You want to say something? Sure.
Could I address membership? Or did you want to do a motion to establish a committee and then members? Yes. Yeah, so our public safety committee has been functioning with 5 members, and it seems like that's a good size. It lets us delegate the responsibilities, but yet if we will have to make decisions, it's a nice odd number. So just I think the easiest way to maybe do this, like I would like to volunteer to chair the committee and then open it up for others, either on our board or members of the public who would like to be involved as a member.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we form this 2027 State and City Legislation Engagement Committee.
Okay, anybody want a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion or members ready to vote? Okay.
Call the question?
Jacob. I'm sorry.
Since we're going ahead with the motion, I'd like to make a motion for an amendment to have Jillian as chair of the committee with Tim and Lou as members.
Yeah, I'm certainly, I mean, I think Jillian had raised the subject with me of being the vice chair of the committee or a member, and I'm certainly happy to help in any capacity, obviously.
I'll second the amendment.
Any objection to the amendment? Okay. And, okay, so are we now ready to vote on the motion as amended? Yes, okay. We need another roll call or?
Chair.
I'm told that if there's no objection, according to Patrick, I guess if there's no objection, then we can just, so it's essentially it's unanimous, then we can just basically say so when we all just raise our hands and dispense with the roll call. Is that, okay?
Chair, if I
Okay,
could. Chair, if I could, I'd like to make another amendment to that motion, that Jacob Wincheck would also serve as a member of that legislative committee.
Well, I don't know. You want to leave that?
Chair. I thought this was going to be open to the public and other people can join in. Jacob's already served, and we have a motion on the floor for a specific motion. And I ask that we vote on that first.
If we can establish the committee tonight, then maybe at our first meeting, vote on members, if that's something that everyone's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the board can do whatever the board wants to do, but to the extent you want my unsolicited advice, I would say things have been going pretty smoothly. And I think people are willing to support the motion to form the committee. I think there seemed to be some pretty broad consensus that you and me and Jillian would be members. It might not be a bad idea to leave it at that for the moment, possibly, and then in the future revisit adding members. Huh? Yeah, and add members at the first meeting. Yeah. Better?
Yeah, as long as we open up to the public, no problem with that. As long as we open it up to the public, as we mentioned, no problem with that.
Right, so
Yeah.
that'd be my advice. Keep it simple
Yeah.
and form it with that, and then we'll go, and then we'll deal with it going forward. That would be my suggestion, yeah. Okay, we're good? Okay. Any objection to the motion as initially amended? Oh, I see a hand raised. Well, you don't get to vote, right, Greg? But
Just a comment.
but if you have a comment, you're certainly welcome to give us your input.
Just one comment. Well, I've already informed you that I have sunshine law concerns. I'm not going to go back to that. If you look at the agenda item on the notice, item 5C, formation of the 2027 State and City Legislation Engagement Committee. Now, I know just because I'm experienced with the legislative sessions that means the session, but it doesn't indicate for the general public who may not know and most likely might get confused that means you're setting up a committee now. It sounds like this is for a committee to be established in 2027. I know OIP will agree with that, and I'm pretty confident. I don't have 100%, but I'm going to put it at 90 to 100%. And again, this is where you fall short on public notification. And I commend the previous board member who says make sure that the members of the public are participating. This is not about the board's legislation. This is about the public's request for what's needed in our community and that legislation. And I represent Kapuna, but I testify as an individual for most things and sometimes for Kapuna related bills, and dozens of them, and over 120 committee hearings, never mind all the other outreach that I do and the other meetings I go to. So again, this board, this Waikīkī Neighborhood Board, is falling short of proper notification. How do you expect to get to legislation if you can't even get your meeting notices and agendas properly?
Okay. Well, okay, hang on. We have Patrick here who seems to think it's fine. I'll give you my lawyerly opinion for what it's worth. The way I read this, Greg, is when it says 2027 state and city legislation, we're talking about the 2027 legislative session, because there will be no legislative session prior to 27 and city. So I don't see this as somehow.
That's not true, Lou. 2026, the city council has a session.
As somehow tricking the public into being duped or misinformed.
I think we have a solution.
About what
It's confusing, Lou.
I have a
I
solution.
hear your concern, but I don't think it makes any sense.
I have a
It does make sense.
Could we not add to this
Pardon?
2026/2027?
Well, I mean, you could say 2026/27, but if your complaint is that we didn't say 2026/2027, then take it to OIP and say what they want to do with it, okay? Okay, I think, if you think they're going to invalidate it based on that, good luck. Okay, are we ready to vote? Okay, now you can put them on mute. Okay, are we ready to vote? Okay, are there any objections, or is it unanimous? Okay, seeing no objections, we can record the vote as unanimous. Pardon? No objections, then there's no votes, right? Okay, motion passes. Okay, so we're good. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now we move on to item 6, the schedule of parades and street events. Okay, Saturday, May 23rd from 1:30 to midnight, the Kanikapila Festival. June 5th from 7 to 8:30, the Troy Barboza Law Enforcement Torch Run. June 12th, 5:30 to midnight, the 43rd Annual Pan Pacific Holalea. June 13th, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Kinkamehameha Floral Parade. And June 14th from 9 a.m. till 11 a.m., the 43rd Annual Pan Pacific Parade. We have no liquor license applications, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry.
The lantern floating Hawaii has been eliminated, which is on Memorial Day on the 25th. And that's one of the biggest events that we have here on the island. And I think it should be noted and should be lantern floating Hawaii, which is on Memorial Day. And we've been celebrating it for many, many years, and it needs to be recognized because it's a, it's an event that's from people all over the world are sending their memories. And I just think it should not have been omitted from the agenda.
She said the lantern floating on Memorial Day, that's been a long-standing event to remember your loved ones, was omitted from the agenda.
Oh, that's an awesome event. It really
It
is.
was in last month's agenda. It was probably.
It really is. It's really.
It was in there
It's
the
one
previous.
it's one of the most emotional, best events. To answer your question, my guess is probably because it's held at Magic Island, it's within the jurisdiction of the Ala Moana Neighborhood Board, and that might be why it's not included on the agenda. I don't know for sure.
This is Waikīkī events. That's probably why, because it's on the Ala Moana agenda.
Technically, it's probably within the jurisdiction of the.
I was saying it was in there in April.
Huh?
D.
It was announced at the last. meeting.
7D.
Okay, well, then that's the answer. Okay. Okay. Hooray. We're good. Okay, so now we come to elected officials, and we start with Nola from the mayor's office.
Good evening, members of the neighborhood board. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I guess I just want to touch on a couple of the mayor's highlights from his monthly newsletter, things that I think might be of interest. Well, actually, as all of you know, we're still recovering from the Kona low storms, and there's a lot of cleanup and a lot of recovery for many of the residents. Unfortunately, the mayor's town halls have had to be canceled, but there is a couple other highlights that we're happy to let you all know. The Honolulu Zoo has earned the prestigious Association of Zoos and Aquariums accreditation. So it was a one-year accreditation that was pending final approval, and so we're really pleased to let all of you know that we'll continue to have a flourishing zoo, and hopefully it's growing and doing well. Another interesting announcement that I wanted to make is that the Bloomberg Philanthropy Fees, which is based out of Harvard and funded by the former Mayor Bloomberg, has awarded $50,000 to Honolulu to fund youth-led climate projects. And so this is to support municipalities in mobilizing young residents aged 15 to 24 and designing and delivering solutions aligned with citywide projects. So we will open innovation competitions, inviting young people's ideas, selecting the strongest proposals and funding them with technical assistance from Bloomberg Philanthropies. The award will help address climate change, sustainability, and resiliency across Oahu's community through selected youth-led projects under $5,000. And we will be joining a network of 300 cities across 6 continents that are committed to strengthening how governments partner with youth to develop climate solutions. So the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability and Resilience will work with the Honolulu Youth Commission to activate this program. So if all of you have young people that may be interested, please stay tuned and we'll let you know. So anyway, this report is online and you can get it. Anyways, most people can know how to work it. I think it's at www.honolulu.gov/mayor/newsletter. So last month, all of the requests that we got had to do with DTS. And so all of the items, and especially a special request to talk about the Alawai Bridge project update, were from DTS. So I told Roger this was really his meeting. So I'm pleased that we have a special guest. So Director Roger Morton has come this evening to talk to all of you and answer some of your questions and talk about the Alawai Bridge project.
Thank you. I was wondering to what do we owe the pleasure of having Roger Morton here. Thank you. Welcome, Roger.
Aloha, Waikīkī, and members of the neighborhood board. My name is Roger Morton. I'm the Director of Transportation Services for the city. Nola called me late and said, "Hey, have you got an update for us?" And I told her, "Well, I'll just come and try to give it because it's a little complicated." Let me go through some of the questions that came up at the last meeting first. The one on moped parking, we're open to look at moped parking. If people have specific locations, maybe they can let me know right after I speak or something, or or you can just call us at DTS or email me, and we'll send out our staff. We won't guarantee that we'll find a place because it's always complicated to find parking spaces, but we are more than happy to investigate and do that. There was a question about bus apps, and that was pretty close to my heart. Many years ago, there was well, I forget what they call them, a hack or something like that, where the DIT person and myself got together and we figured out how to do the first app, which was we called the bus, and we retired it recently, and we got a lot of pushback because it was so simple to use and all of those things. We retired it because the original architect had retired from the city. We were faced with the need to update it to meet ADA mobile app standards. And we have 20 or 30 other apps that are private sector that can be used. And I know the people talked about the transit app, but believe me, there's many other apps that are available. The way it works for us is we make the public data available in the public domain at no cost. And we make sure that people are responsible. We make them apply. We do all of that stuff, but they get to use our data for that. And if you want to use one, the one that OTS did, which was bus only, is called HEA, the bus. And you can get that on the Apple website along with a bunch of other ones too. And find one that works for you that you can just put the bus number in. That's what people liked about the last app, was that it was simple to use. Now for the Alapono Bridge, I'll give you where we're at on that. But first I'll preface it by saying that we are now officially in procurement. And that restricts the amount of specific information I can talk about under the procurement law now. But I can tell you that on June 25th, we reached a significant milestone because we completed the federally required consultation required under Section 106 of the Historic Preservation Act. Now, that now means that the federal government is now reviewing the final NEPA document for the bridge. And we have not got a response yet back from the federal government, but it's under review by the federal government, reviewing to make sure that all the T's were crossed. I believe our local federal reps have done it, and now we're in Washington waiting for their final review. We made a change in the way that we decided to go out to bid. We had a lot of controversy over the height of the bridge and some other things. And so the process that we're using right now is called a design build process. We are in the first stage of qualifying vendors or contractors who we go through and review and have the requisite skill in order to take on a project like that. And we have tentatively looked at 3 that we think are qualified. And frankly, that's all we want. Now we're going to ask those 3 to put some significant effort in coming up with designs. We are making, as part of the process, we are going to include representatives from the federally required consultation group that is required when you undertake a federal project. And they will be part of our review committee. They will be from a group that are already federally recognized for this project. There are requirements that in the procurement that, that the that the process be done confidentially and in that way, and that's the way it will be. So we're at part one of the process, which again is to qualify successful or potential contractors for that. And as I say, at this point, we will be shortly inviting federally recognized consulting parties to participate in the review and evaluation for specific things like aesthetics and for community value of the bridge. Not so much for is the bridge going to fall down if we build it this way, but the more community oriented type things. And we can find out more at our website at www.honolulu.gov/DTS/Alapono. And you can find out, we keep that website up to date and you can find more information there. Happy to answer any questions, transportation wise.
Okay, anybody down in the front? Okay, Jacob.
Thanks for coming to address us tonight. Really great to hear that update that the Alapono Bridge project is moving forward. As I understand, we're still putting the finishing touches on the design from your update. I would just like to ask that you include decent shade over the bridge, right? At noon in July, it's going to be sweltering on that bridge with no shade. Even a little bit of shade makes a world of difference. So please, as you're looking to finalize the design for this bridge project, just make sure to include shade, because on those sweltering summer days, it's going to get hot.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else on this side? Okay, well.
I think it's only on the bridge? Only on the bridge, or as other transportation items?
I don't know what the agenda requirements are, but.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You want to know only the bridge or other questions? Yeah. If the chair indulges, I'm happy to do a few.
Sure.
I continue to have the concern over the 5 crosswalks on Kapalulu Avenue, the zoo crosswalks. Yesterday, as crossing the walk, I actually had a driver honk at me so that he could continue on, and I had to stop.
Was it because they're faded? Is that the issue?
That is part of the issue. I think the other issue is that we had considered some time ago getting some lights, at least at the one on at Lemon Road. And I'd like to know if that's still feasible, and that is people come down Kalakaua, they've been stop and go, they make that left on Kapahulu, they're ready to head ever already. And so they hit the gas right there. And I think it's important that we have some way of doing that. The little sign, metal sign that's usually implanted in this median has been knocked over again and has been set against the.
That's the state law signs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also.
That's at Lemon Road and where?
On Lemon Road in Kapahulu.
Oh, okay.
And also, just as you make the left from Kalakaua onto Kapahulu, there is a sign that used to say crosswalks ahead and now just says ahead.
But yes, I mean, you got Roger here, you might as well load up on him with anything you ever want to ask him. You don't have to limit it. Yeah, you don't have to just talk about the West app. Yeah, you can talk about anything you want. Yeah, Tim?
I'd be very grateful if we would have to look at the Zoom crosswalks.
Yeah.
All right, aloha, sir. I respectfully request that the city install left turn arrows for EVA-bound traffic on Kuhio Avenue because of the bus lane. Because there are no left turn arrows, what happens is traffic that wants to turn left has to wait so long that the traffic gets backed up. And so the drivers going EVA-bound on Kuhio have a choice of either obey the law, but possibly have to wait 5 minutes because every time the light turns, or they have to make a dangerous move and go into the bus lane.
But my staff did make 2 changes to on Kuhio for those, and I know that they have a couple of other intersections that they are looking at right now I think Renee Espial has been to this group and has spoken to you. But I know that that we are reviewing at least 2 other intersections. I don't know the outcome, but I know it's on our radar to look for those left turn issues.
Thank you. Okay, Shannon, you want to ask?
Yeah, same thing. We keep being told that there are studies and, why they weren't, they weren't initially installed because the studies did not warrant, but yet we've asked repeatedly and we've never been provided with any of that information.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, they're complicated. You asked for the left turn light for that. There are traffic engineering criteria that we would go through, including, counting the number of potential left turns that we might have. There are others, but as I say, there are 2 more that we are looking at, and the group is out studying them. I don't have the answer on I don't think there's been a determination made yet by my staff over how to alleviate that or whether it can be done. But I can tell you that they are, and I've had recent conversations to confirm that that's ongoing right now. I know we made 2 changes, and we are looking at 2 others.
What were those changes?
There was one right at the end of Kapahulu. We did the double turn. We put a single turn in. Now we've turned it into a double turn. And there was another one, and I can't recall exactly where it is. It's not. Don't I can find out and get back to you, but I don't have that information right with me.
Yeah, because she had said they were going to actually not allow people to turn left into international marketplace. So that's going to mean you're going to, it doesn't.
Well, there's a million ways you can skin a cat, and I know an international marketplace is one area that was being reviewed from that. I don't think we're doing anything there, honestly, but I know we looked at that area. I just don't have the I don't have the specific information on that.
Yeah, I think Renee mentioned that it was a week study. I mean, I don't know how much you can get out of 1 week. I think it needs to be longer than that. We don't know when. And we were just asking if you need our help, we're happy to help.
Okay.
I've sent videos, I've sent photos showing that people have going into the bus lane because they've got to wait to turn left. And it's all the left signals that we were trying to get. Every street going left. If they've got to stop because now it's 1 lane, it's now taking any longer. I mean, we want local people coming into Waikīkī who don't live in Waikīkī. I think it's a deterrent. They don't want to be here in the middle of traffic, and it shows.
Okay. You guys good? Okay, anybody, okay.
Let's get the bridge. Thank you. It's way overdue, and I'm looking forward to the day when we have the bridge over the LOI. So thank you. Speed humps. Now, Ralph, I couldn't hear exactly what you were saying, but your concern was off of Kapahulu speed concerns. And okay, especially the 4 lanes merging onto the LOI, that is a concern for me as a bicycle commuter, and I'd like to see speed humps or speed bumps. So, thank you.
Sure. I mean, speed humps are one of the tools that we have for speed control. They do generate a lot of noise, among other things, and we try to avoid areas where we have a lot of sleeping or trying to sleep people with those. But there are other other things. We are probably going to lower the speed limit on Alloy Boulevard to 25. That's a kind of, I don't think anybody's going to lose any time by us doing that, but it's right now it's a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone. And it's just too speedy for the number of bicyclists, pedestrians, and traffic on the roadway. So that's one that we are doing. There are some other ways that we can control speed, and we don't always resort to speed humps as the first choice, particularly when we're into residential areas.
Okay, anybody else in the audience here? Okay, if not, then we'll go online. We have Nate, and then Laura, then Greg.
Hey, Director. Hey, thanks for making the time to come down. Really appreciate it. I don't know if this would be more appropriate for like reporting on a 311, but what's the process for requesting a sign of showing that there's a crosswalk? You know, the square sign depicting it, because we have a crosswalk crossing Enna Road where Hope on Lane dead ends into it, and it's difficult sometimes to get people to stop on that crosswalk, and particularly because there's a lot of tourists that drive down that road.
That is a state intersection, I believe, at Holbrook and Alamoana, if that's the
No,
one.
at
Holbrook
Enna Road.
And then, okay.
Yeah,
The-
Holbrook's
you-
kind of
I mean,
funky. Yeah, kind of.
You can notify us in many ways. If you send an email to me, I will make sure my team gets it and reviews it. That might be the easiest way. And my email address is roger.morton@honolulu.gov.
Hello, thank you.
Okay, Laura?
Okay, hello, Roger. This is Laura.
Hello, Laura.
Hello. I have several comments and questions I want you to answer, I hope. First of all, it's mandated by the federal government that there be equal park acreage designated somewhere in the immediate neighborhoods where anything is being taken away from the parks. That would be on both sides of the canal. Where are those designations? You cannot start anything without designating the absolute playground and passive park area. That's mandated from the federal government. And I would like, of course, you to announce to your group how much the Design Build 3 nominees are getting in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for their initial input. And then again, you mentioned that there's a federal recommendation for parties consultation groups. I would like to be one of the consultation people. I have good creds. Over 20 state and national historic register successful nominations. I taught contemporary sculpture, and myself, I have public sculptures. You one in the city and county that's at Marin Tower, and these are 70 or 80 or more feet long, and they're interactive human scale sculptures. They're not little, they're big sculptures, and I would really like to be considered. I have both the aesthetics, having taught sculpture for 43 years, and I have the community orientation, or whatever the word is that you said, which is community sensitivity. I have an understanding of that through both my writing and my books, but also of lecturing and talking to people all throughout the community. So I think I'm very well qualified. I'd like to think that there would be similar people that also have the same qualifications. And so those were the main things that I wanted you to know. Where is, and maybe you can answer it now, where are the new parks going to be?
Well, what you're talking about is the 4F requirement under the National Environmental Protection Act. That is something that we deal with the Department of Parks and Recreation to help us. We did go into a process with that. We are making some modifications to the park. We are taking steps to do some mitigations on any impact that we did have to the park. And it's a process that was completed several years ago, and we're going to be following through with it as we construct the bridge.
But because it, excuse me for interrupting, but because it bisects the park and it's designated by you folks as 0.91 acres, it's really about 5 times more acreage, and it needs to have designation that is accounted for in the both communities. Waikīkī has the big aircraft carrier that's over its historical property areas. And they both need to be designated before anything possibly happens. So, but anyway, to continue, I'm sorry to interrupt.
You also brought up the issue of the stipend, which is the way that we are going. As I say, we are trying to have select qualified candidates. We want at least 3. We are going to provide each of them a stipend. And the reason why we're going to provide them a stipend is because we don't want them to do a quick and dirty design in preparation of the bid. We want them to actually have the ability to do a thorough design. And then at that point, then we can choose the best design that we have. It's a process that others have taken that result in a better value for the community, a better type. And it's for a large project like this, it is a small portion of the cost of the project, but it will result in a better product for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Greg.
And consultants group.
You're not done yet? I thought you were kind of, I mean, I know we've kind of hit the 2 minutes.
When will the announcement go out to the community members for applications for the consultant group?
I think we need to move on to Greg.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
Greg Masakian. Aloha, Roger. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Appreciate your time. First comment I'll make, we know there's inflation going forward, not today, well, unless you have a new number. I'd like to know the new number or the proposed bridge. I'd also like to point out that there were a number of bills this year at the state capitol that I testified against in opposition to, and they were all deferred from my review. I may have missed one, but I believe they were deferred. At least 2 talked about the Waikīkī Special District and specific to loosening the requirements for environmental assessment reports. So those appear to have been deferred unless I missed it. I did a review yesterday. I'm concerned about that there's legislation that's being proposed to try to weaken the environmental reports that are required for good and sound projects so that they don't impact negatively on the environment and the people of Hawaii. So I'll make that comment. I would like to know much more what Ms. Ruby asked about the 3, at least 3 that you guys have, the cost, the stipend that's being given, which bridge is being looked at to be a draft architect review or design. There was a decision by the public that said low profile bridge. That decision was also by a previous Waikīkī neighborhood board. So all of those are just on the table, just discussion points. Vicky Bikes, I'll just throw it out there. The last time I saw you on TV, you said 50% chance of failing, 50% reduction in bikes. Could you maybe just give a quick update on that? And if you do have any other potential inflation cost for the bridge or the profile of the bridge, I'd like to just get a quick update. Thank you.
Okay, you want to answer anything?
I don't have the other than the budget that we have put in. I don't have any updates on that. As far as the Beaky is a concern to all of us at the city. We're doing our darndest to try to work with the vendor to make Beaky sustainable. What has happened has been that the revenue stream that Beaky gets historically was about a majority of it were our Asian visitors that have a propensity to ride bicycles, and they paid a higher fare than residents did. Only about half of our Japanese visitors have returned to the island. So Beaky was faced with both the impact of COVID, shutting down our visitor industry for almost 2 years, and basically it's a cash flow problem for Beaky. Beaky has got to be sustainable. Beaky's got to be able to make the profits equal the expenses and make a reasonable profit out of it. They have they've been struggling with that, and we're struggling to see if we can make them sustainable. As far as the number of bikes go, two things. We had a serial bike wrecker that was responsible for destroying more than 300 bikes. Person was in and out of incarceration. Unfortunately, had a mental issue, and so was in and out, and that had a big impact on Waikīkī because they would actually bend the frames to where the bicycles had to be disposed of. So where we need to be is we need to have 1,300 to 1,400 bicycles in our network in order for it to be an effective bicycle share program. We have about 650 right now, and that's just a vicious circle down. That the less bikes we have, then the less revenue we have, and all of those things. And that was kind of where my 50-50 comment came from. We're gonna try to make Waikīkī sustainable. We're gonna try to keep it, but it's a heavy lift. We're prepared to put $1 million into it of climate resiliency funding to try to get it over the hump. And believe me, we're busting we really want to make this happen, but it will be a tough thing for all of us. Waikīkī has to become sustainable. They've got to get their fleet back up. We're looking to use federal funding to get the fleet back up to a reasonable size. And we hope to have announcements within the next couple of weeks over exactly how this is going to work out for us.
Thank you for that update. Well, just one last comment.
Thank you so much.
If I could very quickly. So just on an issue that I brought up previously to Nola.
No, I think you've answered the questions. We're done. All right. So
no, I'm sorry. I just want to add one thing. You've let other people do that.
Okay.
Here, you let other people interact. I have one just comment about the Waikīkī bike stations. You could just let me make that comment, please.
You have a quick follow-up with Roger. We can do that. Otherwise,
very quick comment, and then I wanted to just say I have one question.
I cannot let you tie up the entire agenda for the night.
Sure, I was short on my time speaking, and I just had one follow-up about the Waikīkī bike. It's not even a question. It's
okay. I just want to thank Director Roger Morton for joining us, and thank you for allowing me the impromptu. Thank you.
I had a question.
Okay, now we have Tommy Water.
Chair, I had a question for Nola. I don't know if you're intentionally trying to be antagonist with me.
There was something from one of the.
Nola is.
I had a question for Nola. The questions you brought in for Roger Morton were impromptu.
I'm afraid the agenda has.
I have one question for Nola. It's important. If I could, please. You've been very disrespectful to me again, as if you're trying to start an antagonistic relationship with me again. Please, if I could. I have one question for Nola.
That part of the agenda is over. So now
you didn't indicate it was over. Nola just brought Roger out, and I have one question for Nola. I never got to ask Nola a question. This is unbelievable. Chair.
Councilmember Waters.
Chair, you're again disrespecting the public, me as a representative of public concern. I have one. You keep muting me. I'd ask that you please stop that. If I was there, I'd be able to speak directly.
Yes, I told him to mute you. That's correct.
Well, I would be there if I wasn't sick. So I'm sorry. I didn't want to get anyone else sick at the meeting. Okay, I have one question for Nola. I never got to ask a question.
Hello, everyone. Chair, board members, nice to see you all. Special shout out to Roger Morton and Denise Miyazaki. I really enjoy working with them. They got to be amongst the most attentive and the most, they pay attention to what's going on. So thank you guys for coming out here tonight. It dawned on me, Lou, that there's a lot of board members that I've never met. So allow me to introduce myself. So I'm Tommy Waters. I was born and raised right here in Honolulu. Lived here my entire life. Graduated from the Kamehameha schools. I am part Hawaiian, even though I don't look like it. I went to University of Hawaii, got a degree in bachelor's degree in political science. Went to the University of Hawaii Law School, got my law degree there. I worked my entire way through school. Even at Kamehameha schools, my parents didn't have money to pay for tuition, so I washed dishes and I worked during my free period. Put myself through college and law school, actually working at the Waikīkī Lanais as a dishwasher. Waikīkī Village Tavern, excuse me. I used to live at the Waikīkī Lanais. I know, well, she's gone, knows that. But I worked as a busboy at La Ronde restaurant. Remember La Ronde, the revolving restaurant atop the Ala Moana building? I did landscaping, anything to put myself through school. When I graduated from law school, I worked for Circuit Court Judge Marie Melks for 2 years. From there, I went to work at the Public Defender's Office as a Deputy Public Defender for 8 years. And at that point, Brian Schatz came to me with some others, politicians, said, you know, Tommy, why don't you run for office? And I thought, okay, I will. I ran for the State House, was elected, served 3 terms in the State House. I was the higher education chair, my 2nd term. Proud to say we started the pharmacy school on the Big Island while I was there. We started a construction academy at the Honolulu Community College while I was there. We built the Paliku Theater at Windward Community College while I was the higher ed chair. My 3rd term, I was the judiciary chair, which was really, really tough. We oversaw the budget for the entire 3rd branch of government. But after my 3rd term, my son was born. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be the best possible dad that I can. And I quit. I didn't lose the race. I actually quit office. I said, you know what? I need to be there for my kids. And I give credit to the 2 people running here and all the candidates running, because you're here at night till 10 o'clock at night sometimes when you got little kids. And I thought to myself, you know, I got to step down. When my kids were grown, I decided to run again for the Honolulu City Council. So I'm honored that my colleagues have elected me as the chair, been the chair for the last 5 years. You know, I'm really proud of the work that we did together on the board. A couple of things that stand out in my mind. The $1 million that we worked on, that we got the Hilton Grand Vacations to donate to this community, to betterment of Waikīkī. We worked on the parades bill, and the street closure bills together. We established Safe and Sound. John Dutzman, where are you? Still here? John Dutzman, Tim Gary, working with Steve Alm, starting the Safe and Sound. And we heard Officer Okimoto just testify that crime has gone down in Waikīkī and homelessness has gone down in Waikīkī. And I think that's because of the hard work of this board and you dedicated folks who care. 1615 Alawai, remember what that used to be like? That was a crime haven. They were dealing drugs out of there. There was prostitution going on over there. The city condemned it with my resolution doing so, knocked it down, and we're going to build housing for seniors there. We just put out the RFP for that, and I'm excited that that's going to happen. Anyway, that's who I am. Oh, and by the way, being in the council is nonpartisan, but I am a Democrat, just so you know. Also, here's my report. Anyway, so HPD, Paul Okamoto, he's a major. This guy's fantastic. I've met with this guy many times already, and he just took the job. We've had some good majors and we had some not so good majors since we've been here. I got to tell you, so far, this guy's been pretty good. And one of the things that we talked about was portable cameras in high crime areas, but he needs legislation to approve that. So I'm working on legislation with Major Okamoto to allow for these portable cameras. The other thing is working with the Waikīkī Business Improvement District, there already are cameras already set up, but these would be cameras that would mobile where we could move them around. But working with the WBID, want to get funding so people can actually fix these cameras because a lot of them are broken. And then we need people to actually man the cameras so we can watch what's going on. Also been working with HBD on drones. Drones are a tool that we could use to fight crime, but they need funding for that. So I'm supporting that. We've been working together to clear our sidewalks of street performers. That, the first time we tried, the mayor vetoed it. HBD came in and started enforcing, and then they stopped enforcing. But Paul Locomoto, I've talked to him on numerous occasions, like I said, saying, we got to enforce this. We walked door to door, not door to door, down the entire Puhio Avenue and Kalakaua Avenue. And, Major Okamoto was talking about the one gentleman, he literally was sitting there for 8 hours banging on a snare drum with one thing. I'm happy to hear that they finally are citing this guy. Mobile tool operators, that still continues to be a problem, and we need HBD to get in there. These guys are the guys on the bikes. Yeah? So when HBD comes, they take their bike with their tour and they move it to the private property. And we're working with the hotels so that when they move it to the private property, the hotels will say, no, you cannot do that. Anyway, there was a question about the police chief. There is a final vote on May 20th, 2026. That's right around the corner. And the police commission is going to do their final interviews on May 19th. So if anybody wants to comment on that, send a letter to the police commission. Easy as that. Send a letter to the police commission saying you want to weigh in on this. I did participate in the panel discussions with the chiefs, and the 6 finalists that they had, they narrowed it down to 3, but all 6 of them were good. But the police commission narrowed it down to 3. So if you want to weigh in on that, please do. We don't make the decision at the city council level. It's the police commission. Somebody brought up disaster preparedness. And I agree with you. We need to build places where we can evacuate to. We're supposed to evacuate in place, by the way, here in Waikīkī. But do you guys remember the huge traffic mess that Waikīkī was in after that tsunami warning? So every time there's an event like that, they're supposed to do what's called a final action plan. So at one of our latest hearings, I asked the Department of Emergency Management for that final action plan. As soon as I get that, I'll share it with you all. Because let's pick through that thing and figure out what we did right, what we did wrong, and what we can do better. I've asked for the final action plan for the Konolo storms. They said that's not going to be available for 6 months. But this tsunami, it's supposed to be available next month. Nate Sirota might be able to explain this a little bit better, but you know that Waikīkī bathroom that always breaks down? Well, it looks like we're going to get the manufacturer of the pump to get us a new pump. So that's supposed to be installed and fixed. But in the meantime, like we talked about last month, they still got some money in the budget for temporary bathrooms. I remember moms coming up to me complaining that they got no place to take their kids to use the bathroom. So we thought a temporary bathroom, at least until we can get the permanent one fixed. And last thing I wanted to report is that we have a full council meeting tomorrow. So if anybody wants to come down to the Honolulu City Council, please do. But we understand that not everybody can make it. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for you all to participate. So check out our website, honolulucitycouncil.org. You can log on and watch the meetings live. You can testify live from your computer or even your phone. Pretty amazing. And it's super easy to put in written testimony as well. So that's tomorrow. Since it's going to be a long meeting tomorrow, after the answering questions, I'm going to have to take off. But Adam Dew, who's sitting right there, is with my office man. If you know him, will stick around. I think a couple of you wanted to talk to me outside after, and happy to do that as well. But thank you, Lou.
Okay, question, Catherine.
Good evening, Chair.
Hi.
A notice was sent out to condominiums in Waikīkī that are 25,000 square feet or more. And it is something that you introduced a few years ago, 2022. It is the benchmark report. Remember that? It is a report that is being required.
Is it
to-
dealing with energy use?
Yes.
Yep.
The Hawaiian Electric Company, the gas company, and the Board of Water Supply are all supposed to be reported by condos of 25,000 square feet or more. I was contacted by a couple of presidents of condominiums, and they have some questions. They want to know, number one, what will the information be used for?
The idea is to figure out how much each building is using
Mhm.
and then figure out how we can lower that cost, whether it be solar panels or better appliances or changing the light bulbs in the building.
Well,
things
that's
like
the
that.
second part of the question.
Yeah.
The building that I happen to reside in has been very, very conscious about their power use. And they have installed energy efficient lights. They have done a number of things to bring down their cost. What they're concerned about is that you, not you particularly, but the agency will go and say to buildings, well, you haven't been very efficient, so we're going to give you this reward if you make yourself more efficient. However, that award doesn't go on to the people who have already proven themselves to be more efficient. That is their concern. They also are concerned about a reduction of total energy use and requirements. So those of us, I just said that, it's an expensive report. I don't know if you know that, several $1,000s to make this report. And it is a 38-page explanation on how to do this report. Now, I've done some research because everybody's saying, what the heck, how do we fill this out? The management company was contacted. We were told that we would have to hire a contractor
Okay,
to do the report for us.
Catherine, I think we got to summarize the question.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get some answers to these questions today back to the board, my board. And they're concerned that we're going to be punished.
Well, I wish I could take credit for what you're talking about. It's not a requirement, by the way. My understanding, it's completely voluntary.
If we don't do it, they're going to fine us. And we have till June the 30th.
Let me look into that for you. That wasn't my understanding. And by the way, I didn't create this. This was the Mayor's Office of Climate Change and Resiliency. And really the idea is just to figure out how much the building is using and then perhaps give the building advice on how to lower the rate. But I'm not aware of any award that's going to go to the buildings that don't use that much electricity or any penalty to buildings that use a lot of electricity, but I'm happy to clarify that for you. Yeah, no problem. June 30th? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Jacob.
Thank you, Chair Waters, for taking the time to come down here. It's glad to hear that history of your public service, and I look forward to your continued public service. I want to applaud the mayor and the city council for working together to pass the city budget. It's been a tight process. We're facing, some headwinds, and as a homeowner, I'm really glad you guys have been able to hold down property tax. With inflated property values up here, any property tax increases hurt not just upper income residents, but also working and middle income residents as well. So as a homeowner in Waikīkī, I appreciate every little bit of fiscal relief the city can provide. Additionally, looking at the agenda for tomorrow for a city council meeting, I would just like to express my strong support for resolution 2639, increasing the Florida area ratio for development standards. I think that is long overdue. We're still in the midst of an affordable housing crisis. We need to use every tool in our toolkit. I don't think this will be a silver gun, but it moves us in the positive direction. So I encourage you and your colleagues to approve Resolution 2639. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, thank you for bringing that up. 2639, increasing the floor area ratio is only for downtown. But brings up a good point because the floor area ratio requirement here in Waikiki is a 1. So many places, you don't see them, fixing their buildings up because it doesn't make sense because they can't rebuild any higher or more dense. So when you talk about floor area ratio, you're talking about density, right? The density, how big you could build the building. So it's something we should talk about. Do we want to change the FAR for Waikiki or leave it the same? Just something to think about.
Okay, anybody else on that side, or how about you? Okay, anybody in the live audience? Tim?
Tim Gary.
Good evening, Tommy. You're right. We've done a lot in the last 5 years. Things have gotten better. We want to continue this. I was going to open with the bathroom still broke. I've delegated that off to all the mothers down there, Nicole and all the moms with little kids. Nicole was on TV complaining. I just find I'm dismayed that that bathroom worked for 20 years. Had some problems and everything, but for the last 3 years, there's been no effort to fix it. So I'm glad we're moving ahead on that. On the disaster relief, I watched the whole thing. Your idea of building Hurricane Cat 5 resistant shelters, there's none. Name one around here. Name one. There's not one in this whole area.
There's not any on the whole island.
No. And so,
well, you got force 1, right? There's five levels. But
yeah.
You got a couple that can withstand a force 1 hurricane.
We're going to
but
be looking
0
at,
can withstand a force 5 hurricane.
we're looking at total chaos. I was involved in a couple disasters in LA, the 92 Northridge earthquake and the riots. It was total chaos. If a Cat 5 hit here, you would have people going berserk, crazy. They would be robbing the stores. First thing they do, they'd be looting the stores. We are so unprepared. So please move forward on that. We need to do that. But one quick other thing. In the critique of the response of the rainstorm, I refuse to call it the Kona low. I don't think you were critical enough of the administration. This guy comes in here, he's appointed emergency director, considered an expert. The first drill was the tsunami, which you referenced, the report. Why does it take so long to figure out what went wrong? I could have sat up on Tantalus and told you what went wrong in 20 minutes. We got to wait 6 months for a critique. The same thing with the North Shore critique. Why are we so slow in identifying it? I wish you would have been a little bit more aggressive in the questioning. This guy's 0 for 2. If he was in baseball, he'd be sent down to the minors. I'm really dismayed with what his performance was. They weren't even in the emergency room on the second storm. 8 o'clock at night, nobody there. The mayor, to his credit, he came out and he said, this is going to be a hell of a rainstorm.
Okay.
Get ready.
Okay, we're kind of way over the 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick comment.
You want to answer? or
Yeah, just a
respond?
quick comment. No,
Yeah, let him.
we're not done yet with our hearings and questioning of that. But the fact of the matter is, it's a known flooded area. There was a 2-foot swell in the stream at 8:54 that night. The OEC wasn't open operations center wasn't open till 11 o'clock. That was the problem. They can't order a evacuation until that thing was open. They should have had that thing open earlier. Then they could get the calls from the police and fire. Look, this thing is happening. They needed to evacuate when that stream started to swell. That would have been the best thing they could have done. They ordered the evacuation at 3 a.m. By then, water was in the homes up to people's waists, right? So I thought I did make that point. I did make that point, but you know, there's still gonna have more hearings. We haven't gotten to the bottom of this yet.
Okay, there's nobody else in person? Okay, Patrick, sure.
Thank you. Patrick Smith, speaking in my individual capacity. Chair Waters, I brought this up before about the camera systems, and I sure hope when the city adopts those and they come up with a very stringent policy of protection of civil liberties and the data. I noticed there are some flock cameras that are installed. There are about 3, and they have had a very dubious reputation on the mainland. And so I really hope that the city follows up, and you can't rely, apparently, based on past conduct, you can't rely on the statements of the company. You have to do your due diligence. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll go online. Greg?
Thank you, Acting Chair. Aloha, Council Chair Waters.
Hello, Greg.
We know it's a election year when we see the campaign pitches at the Waikīkī Neighborhood Board, so it wouldn't be an election year if you didn't have that. All that said, earlier when I was cut off, which was to me disrespectful, this is a public forum, and I was just going to offer to Roger Morton a quick comment regarding the Bicky bikes and I brought this up to NOLA before with no formal follow-up officially where there was any resolution, but the Bicky bike docking stations throughout the city and county have serious rust issues. And it's not just the platform that sometimes is sitting in moisture or water. It's where the bikes dock and its payment kiosk portion. Literally, holes are developing from rust. I just wanted to add that comment to my question to Roger Morton. I didn't get to ask the one question to NOLA, but this is something to you also and NOLA regarding the mayor's town hall meetings were canceled, POW. Are they going to be rescheduled going forward this summer, late spring or summer? So that's a question. And then I think that was pretty much it. And then if you have any additional comments on the police selection, your thoughts, if maybe if you want to give thoughts, if you think it should be local or go to San Francisco. I used to live in San Francisco. I actually know that officer that's in the running. So just maybe you have some thoughts of what you think would be best for the community. So that's it. I made my comments, and maybe just a comment if you could on the police selection situation.
Real quick, the mayor, I can't answer. I'm sorry, Greg, I can't answer that question dealing with the mayor's town halls. I have no idea. Hopefully you reschedule them. They're really helpful. And then I did meet all 3 candidates, all 6 actually, but I think the police commission has a tough call. All 3 are good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, thank you. Now, let's move on. I think I see is Alexander's. Oh, Nate, you had a question?
No, not a question, just more of a comment. I
You just
put it
kinda-
in the chat, yeah, about PBS Insights has a panel that they're going to have with all 3 police finalists this Thursday at 7:30. It's a 90-minute special that they're doing. And so, yeah, for folks that want to chime in, they actually will take viewer questions during that 90-minute special.
PBS One.
I'm sorry, was it?
Thursday, May 9th, 14th, beginning
Yeah, this Thursday at 7:30. Yeah, all 3 finalists are going to have a panel, and they'll take some. I mean, I don't know the process for taking questions, but that is an opportunity to put your question up to the three finalists.
Okay, all right. Senator Moriwaki, I believe online. I see Alex. Okay, Alex.
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much. Chair, members of the board, it is very great to be here with you virtually this evening. I submitted to the chair, Senator Moriwaki's district newsletter for this month. It's essentially just expressing that while session is over, we saw a passage of a total of 268 bills, most of which are still sitting on the governor's desk. The governor has until about July 15th to decide to sign or veto any of the bills that are on his desk, including 13 of senators' own legislation. But now that it's interim, our office will be focused on constituent concerns, such as the ones raised at this board, or researching legislation or budget proposals that we can introduce next session. If there are any questions any members have for the senator, I will be pleased to take them back.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No, seeing none. Okay, thank you very much. Representative Tam.
Aloha, thank you so much for having me today. You have my newsletters. They talk about some bills in it, but ignore that. That was published on May 1st. Since then, a lot has changed. And I will have a full bill digest at the next neighborhood board. And I'll be sending out a district-wide newsletter with what we did this past session. Since we're talking about what we worked as in Waikīkī, I used to work at the now closed Crepe House at the old Pacific Beach Hotel. I was the one making crepes. But Member Hensky did ask me about teacher housing at Jefferson. So I did reach out to DOE, and they are in the very, very beginning stages of just talking about this. I asked them whether or not they are going, and this is all via email, whether or not they're going to do any community meetings, et cetera. And they said that they will, similar to the one in Mililani, and they've held 40 plus community meetings up there. I think that the board should just hear them out at least and let them do these community meetings. I have a meeting scheduled with them. We're trying to organize that. Session's over, so now that my schedule's a little bit more flexible, we can be able to find some time real soon. Other than that, that is the, I will say that, we did get a lot of CIP and GIA funds for the district. I know that we're getting 2.1 or $2.5 million for Alawai debris management, 7 million for the Waikīkī Beach Restoration Project, and Jefferson and Alawai Elementary are also getting their CIP funded as well. We've also got grant money for the Waikīkī Business Improvement Association, as well as this wonderful place that we are in right now, Waikīkī Community Center. In terms of a bill that I did pass, House Bill 2505 did pass. It's on the newsletter. It talks about assisted community treatments. It allows just IHS to petition the courts for assisted community treatment for those that are mentally unfit and need that kind of little push for court mandated treatment. So I want to give a thank you to Trevor Arboruza for helping me pass this bill and writing it. We met in October, and look, we have a bill. So thank you. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have for me.
I have a question. On your report here, you have a bill 2367, which requires the Land and Natural Resources to hold an open hearing so the public can see what they're doing in regards to the small boat harbor. Did that pass? I'm sorry. Senate Bill 2367, at the end of your report.
Let me check on that right now.
Okay.
SB 20.
That is the bill that requires DLNR.
20.
Oh, thank you. I have a hoarse voice tonight.
Yes, it did pass.
Oh, thank God.
Any other questions? Hey, Tim.
Yeah, good evening. In lieu of Civil Beat reporting on the shortcomings and audit of the Kualis, we've been barraged with a bunch of PR commercials from Home Aid, which is the contractor that building the Kuahalis. Could you find out, I've asked numerous people, including almost all politicians, where the funding is coming from for them to run an onslaught of PR commercials touting how great the Kuahalis are. And it was interesting because these commercials never came out until Les Condo, the auditor, came out with a half report, which he never does, questioning all the financing of Green's emergency order. And the latest article, which was in today's Civil Beat, about contractors hiring their husbands and money, this and that. My only question is, where's the money coming from for them to produce a commercial touting how good they are? That's the only question.
I do not know. I will find out. I did write your question down. Thank you. And I am waiting for the full audit to come out so that I can.
That's a fair answer. Okay, thank you. Okay, online, Greg.
Mahalo. Again, Greg Masakian. Aloha, Representative Tam. Good to see you. Yeah, that's an interesting question that was just posed. I'd actually also like to know, and I know you're not going to be able to answer this tonight, where the money is coming from for all the rail commercials. Always on time that I see about, I don't know, 20 times a day. So that would be interesting if that's coming out of future build money or operating expenses for if there's any revenue stream, whatever the revenue stream is that's coming in. I only wanted to make one comment. I'm looking forward to working with your office for going into the next legislative session for one of the best condominium consumer protection bills we can put together and getting it started within the next 30 to 60 days, like starting a roadmap for it. I was very pleased to see that although it had some good intent that turned unintentionally detrimental to condominium owners, but I was happy to see that HB 1897 was deferred out of conference committee. In fact, there was no even mention of what happened to it, just kind of fizzled out. So I was pleased to see that because I literally had emailed every legislator letting them know it was the worst consumer protection bill put forward this year for condominium owners. There's unintended consequences in the way some of the wording was, and it puts condominium owners at risk. And if you read all the testimony, I'm sure you read it, and you'll see testimony from numerous people that would, convey that, including myself. So hopefully we can work on much needed condominium consumer protection bills and hopefully get an ombudsman for 2027 and get better and get some enforcement, because we have some very bad things happening. If just to share real quick, and I'll end, $650,000 embezzlement story in Civil Beat on May 5th, Hawaiian Properties, community manager. It's either
Okay,
three
I
associations or five. So there's a concern out
It's
there.
time to summarize. We've got, you get 2
Thank
minutes.
you,
so
Chair.
you've
I'm
got your 2
wrapping.
minutes,
I
so-
said I'm wrapping. I'm just making that statement. I know
Well,
you.
I'll give you a few seconds to summarize if you'll do
Well,
that.
I was just making that comment. So there's a.
Well, you want to
there's
make a
Civil Beat
speech or do
story
you want
about-
to ask a question?
No, I'm
Okay, I
saying
mean-
there's a Civil Beat story that every member of the community of Waikīkī should read
Representative, wanna
regarding
respond?
embezzlement by a community manager from Hawaiian Properties
Well,
as a management
My-
company. So it's a story that started in 2023. That's all. And we need better consumer protections for condominium owners. Mahalo.
okay.
My office
Thank
is
you.
open to any member of the community that wants to work on legislation with me.
Mahalo. Mahalo.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Yvonne, I thought Bob told me you were out of town, but I guess you're here, so thank you. So why don't you come on up on behalf of the governor? Thank you.
Yes, thanks, everyone. I was out of the country last month and then at a Chamber of Commerce event a little earlier tonight, but happy to relay any concerns back to the governor's office. There's about 250 bills that are moving out of the legislature to him for signing, including the preservation of the tax cuts, probably being the biggest one. And that came with some trade-offs and things like solar tax credits, which from the Energy's office perspective is disappointing, but I think it's about balancing affordability and all the other programs that we want to keep running. So it seemed like the whole session was a bit of a balancing act. Don't think I have anything else to report unless anyone has questions for me or concerns that I can relay back to Governor Green.
Okay, Greg, you have a question. Okay.
Yeah. Aloha, Yvonne. Nice to
Hi,
see
Greg.
you. I just wanted to thank you for, acknowledging there was a message. I won't discuss what that was about, but a message to the governor's office. And it's nice to see that it was addressed. With that said, I will add, I have a concern, and I just have a question because I don't know how the nominations for like the real estate commission, there was GM 697, I believe is the number, for a real estate commissioner. And there were 5 senators that said no out of the 25 and 1 with reservations. I have extreme concerns about that. And I don't know how those nominations go. I'm just wondering if once they go out of the Senate and are approved, is it just automatic, or can the governor still do something to stop that nomination from moving forward?
I don't know the answer, but try and
Okay.
seek.
I'll
seek an
touch base
answer
with you
from you.
separate. Yeah. Okay. Thank you
right.
so much. That was my only concern.
Okay, if nothing else, then thank you so much. We
Very
appreciate your time.
short.
Okay, I know we have an official presentation, I think, Trevor, for on the Waikīkī Business District Association Safe and Sound Program. So, huh? No, that's all the elected officials, right? No, right. Rick is not going to be here tonight. I understand. Right. So we're skipping Rick, and you're going to be here, and then
I have some slides too. Ready to go, Chair? All good? All right. Yeah, my name is Trevor Abrazoa, the president of the Waikīkī Business Improvement District. Thank you guys for having me again. Excited to present to you all, and I'll be brief. I know everyone's tired. We want to get out of here, but I think the thing that we wanted to present on was Safe and Sound Waikīkī, which you guys know about, and the great initiatives that we had with the prosecutor's office, with HPD, and then our partnership. And we actually have new data on the homeless count. I think the major stole some of my thunder, and I wasn't here when he talked, so I don't want to go too deep in the bragging. But we also noticed trends, right? And with the University of Hawaii, the WBID and the UH School of Urban Planning partners on a biannual point-in-time count. And the reason that's important, and the reason it's unique actually to the rest of the country, is that usually from a homelessness data perspective, we rely on the POC, so partners in care. Essentially here, we rely on the citywide or statewide count, and it's only once a year. But in Waikīkī, we really wanted to control our own data and understand where migration patterns are happening, and then do it more than once a year. And then the difference too is that we do it at 3 a.m. So we really have a really good sense of the people that are actually sleeping on the street and actually living on the street rather than transient populations. We've been doing this count about 18 years now. And the data is rather interesting and remarkable. So before I get into the data, I just wanted to give a few quick updates. So the drones and the safety via technology we heard Chair Waters talk about from the city perspective, we've been partnering with the Department of Law Enforcement at the state side and Director Mike Lambert. We have 4 properties that are signed up to put the drones on their properties. So we have the Sheraton Waikīkī. We have the Hyatt property. I believe the Waikīkī Grand. That's you guys. Yep. We thank you guys. And then also we're waiting on the signed contract from Hilton Hawaiian Village. And the reason being we wanted 4 different zones of Waikīkī so that we have the entire peninsula covered. We're waiting on the vendor. They wanted all the contracts signed so they could come out in one swoop and install them all at once. But once Hilton signs on, they have a brand new GM. We'll be able to install them and then have the state police be able to monitor them, partner with HPD. So we're really excited about that. Should be happening soon. And we'll give an update maybe next meeting on more timelines. On the street performers, you heard Chair Waters talk about it. We're working really closely with Chair Waters and his office, Adam, in the audience too. We're going to meet within this week to go over the bill, but we really want to crack down on those street performers. St. Augustine Church, I don't know if anyone talked about it today, but we've been partnering actually closer now with St. Augustine than I think ever before when they've been doing the homeless feedings. We actually got them signed up with us in our Aloha Ambassador program on private security to be able to monitor trespassers or bad behavior at the feedings. So we really wanted to police the people that are taking advantage or maybe causing mischief that are going to the feedings, and then also overnight too, so that we don't have, really issues, overnight when the feedings aren't going on. So we're working rather closely with the church rather than before we weren't working with them at all. So we're really excited about the partnership there. And then, the homeless count. If we go to the next slide. So in total, we count not only the Waikīkī Peninsula, but also the neighboring areas. So Ala Moana Park, we also track kind of near the golf course right over the canal. And then we count Kapiolani Park. And what we've noticed, over since 2022, September 2022 until April of this year, we've seen a drop, about a 25% reduction since we started the Safe and Sound Waikīkī initiative, and that's throughout this geographic area. And then what Major talked about too, if we go to the next slide, is that reduction. We go to the next slide. Oh, it takes a while. So you see the trends, we've seen ups, we've seen downs, but right now we counted about 201 individuals in that geographic area compared to the 251 back in September 2022. If we go to the next slide, and I know Major talked about it, but we've seen this insane amount of reduction in that urban core of Waikīkī. So that's the beach, that's the entire beach. And then that is Kalakaua Avenue and Kohio Avenue, sort of parts of Kohio where you have the main hotel area. So where we've seen a lot of the overnight security efforts by the Aloha Ambassador program, where we've seen a lot of the Safe and Sound initiatives to keep people out of that area, enforcement from HPD, and not only that, but also from an outreach perspective, the investments we're making with Waikīkī Health. This year, 2026, the WBID doubled its investment on street medicine. So we used to have a doctor go out 1 day a week with our outreach team to give medication and psychiatric medication to people in need. Now we doubled it to 2 days a week. So the investments that we're seeing, I think, had the big reduction. But I think the main reason why we're seeing this reduction is on enforcement. And I think from a strategy perspective, I really believe in this carrot and stick approach, that we want to help people that want help. We want to get them off the street, get them into housing, get them into services. But if people say no to those services, then there should be, zero tolerance in terms of living on the street, in terms of using drugs or alcohol on the streets. Either take the service or get out of here, right? And that's kind of the approach we're taking. And I think we're leading in the country in that. You see a 91% reduction. You see going from 111 individuals on Kalakaua and Kohio Avenue in the beach to 10 people in our last count. And I was out there physically with those professors and those students. I counted those 10 people as well. It's remarkable. And again, we don't really like to brag in Hawaii or in Waikīkī, but I think, if you look at any other downtown city in the country, this is our urban core. We don't see a 91% reduction in homelessness. So we're really proud of that. That's the good news, right? And, we got a little bit of bad news too. So if we go to the next slide, we're getting people off the street, we're helping people, but there's also a migration pattern happening from our data. And people are, go to the next slide, yeah. People are migrating towards sort of that Fort DeRussy area, Hilton Hawaiian Village beach area, that park, and then the surrounding residential areas, right? And the reason being, and as you see, you know, back in September 2022, when Safe and Sound started, we had 39 individuals in, you know, Section 6 and Section 1. So that's including, you know, Ala Moana Park, where we're seeing a huge uptick in Ala Moana Park, but also in Waikīkī, we're seeing that area around Hilton Hawaiian Village and then some of the residential areas, Fort DeRussy. We think from people are going to Ala Moana Park just because we think from the enforcement standpoint, Waikiki's getting tougher, Ala Moana is not. Let's go to Ala Moana, right? But in Waikīkī, that Fort DeRussy area, there's sort of this gray area. Maybe Major talked about it, but you know, you got state land there, you got federal land there, you got city. Whose job is it to enforce? HPD and Major Okamoto has really stepped up and saying, hey, we'll take this on, we'll enforce it, we'll make sure that people are doing the right thing. So we're trying to come up with solutions there. So yeah, you're seeing this uptick. If you go to the next slide, you know, we're just seeing sort of a massive increase, 171% increase in that area, right? But what are we doing about it, right? It's not like we're just going to throw up our hands up and say, well, okay, the hotels are good and, you know, the residential areas are bad and we're not going to do anything. So what the WBID is now doing is we want to invest more ambassador presence in that area. And not only that, but we want to partner with HPD. And what we're going to do is we're going to purchase equipment for HPD. And we're working with Major Okamoto now. We got it approved by our board where Major wants to create a new team, essentially, and it's proactive policing. So a team of 4 officers, 1 sergeant and 3 officers that aren't answering 911 calls, but they're going out and being proactive presence in the community, but they're going to use these ATVs. And what we're going to do is we're going to purchase those ATVs for HPD and for District 6, and we're going to donate to the city and say, hey, these are used for District 6. The hotels and WBID want to, you know, invest in this and donate this. And then those quads will be able to go into those outskirt areas of Waikīkī to have patrol presence to help enforce. And then again, from the street medicine piece, from the outreach piece, working with IHS and working with our partners, having more of a focus in the areas where people are migrating to. So, you know, we solved the problem in one area. We're getting people off the street. We're getting them back to the mainland. But again, we want to make sure that we're addressing areas that are seeing this uptick. And it's a focus now for us. So go to the next slide. A little while. Yeah, and again, this is just the trends, right? You see way down in one area, up in the other area. But I guess the message is we have a plan. We're working towards it. We're not just being complacent, and we're going to really attack this, both from the compassionate side and the enforcement side. Then hopefully a year from now, when you guys call me back, we're going to see that downtrend even more. So next slide. I just wanted to talk about some other initiatives that we're working on. Yep, talked about the quads, Waikīkī Health Partnership. Next slide. And then our, I think it's Kuhio Beach, trash cans maybe. Yeah, okay, trash cans. So, you know, we love trash cans at WBID. We like to brag about trash cans, but we had the Kuhio Beach Park project. We had 30. Now we bought 100 more for Kalakaua and Kuhio Avenue to start. We partnered with the city and county on funding for that. The WBID paid half. City and county paid half. We got a private donation for another part of it. But we're going to expand this initiative again through kind of the most trafficked areas. We did a foot traffic study of where people use trash cans the most. So we're going to put them on Kalakaua and Kuhio. Then hopefully another year or two from now, all the residential areas and everywhere has it. There's not many public trash cans kind of in these side streets. I don't know if you guys noticed that. We'd like to have more, but where there are currently public trash cans, they'll be replaced with these really artistically looking, but also so there's no litter that flies out, right? And it keeps us safe from, and our ocean safe from litter. And then I had a Kuhio Beach update as well. You know, we got this $1 million donation from Hilton Grand Vacations, which we're very grateful for. We worked with Chair Waters and his team on how we should spend that money. Again, we came to you guys on that. Just wanted an update. It is progressing along. This is my first time doing a big, massive project with the city. It takes a long time for permits. I'm sure that you guys maybe that built houses know that. But we're working through the permitting process now. Our target date is to get it done by November of this year, that we'd have the turf laid out, we'd have the lighting in place. And then we're also working on with the city's culture and arts department, some art installations that would help activate areas in Kuhio Beach Park that had crime before. You know, maybe they had drug dealing, maybe they had vagrancy. We want to add these kind of artistic pieces, you know, partnering with the local artists and manufacturers to draw kids and families to use. So we have some renderings of what we're working towards and what they could look like. On the next slide here. So here's one of them, sort of, again, kind of a wave, and we want to have maybe Waikīkī on the surfboard. You know, your kid could go on the surf and take a photo. It's actually big enough for even an adult could go on there. But again, you're picturing, you know, where those old cement picnic tables used to be, or maybe where a mound used to be dead and there'd be, you know, people sleeping on the mound. You have this there. People are waiting in line to take the photo. You have Waikīkī Beach in the background. It just makes it positive. And they actually have lights on them, like kind of dim lights. And they play music too. When you crank them in the back, it'll play like a nice Hawaiian song. It could be, you know, and we have the capabilities technology-wise in this thing to have an app that, you know, you could have it the green one day, and then maybe it could be Don Ho the next day, right? So kind of an interactive piece like you see in these big cities like New York or Boston that we want to have in Kuhio Beach Park, again, to activate certain areas. And if you go to the next one, here's just another rendering of what we're looking at. Again, we're working with the city's MOCA. And yeah, just kind of branding Waikīkī. I like to go on vacation and take the cheesy photo with, hey, I'm in, you know, Vegas, or hey, I'm in this city. We don't have a sign in Waikīkī that says you're in Waikīkī. You go to Haleiwa, you could find the sign that you're in Haleiwa. I want a cool Waikīkī sign, you know, hey, for me to take a picture, but then of course, for the millions of people that visit here, that they could really brand Waikīkī and it could help with that messaging piece. But again, the main part of this art is to activate areas that had bad behavior before that we'll draw families to. So we're using that $1 million. Every dollar is going to go back into the park. And again, we're targeting a November date to have all this finished up. So yeah, I think we got a lot of momentum right now on the public safety side. You heard from Major Okamoto. We're thrilled with his leadership. I don't want to speak for all our elected officials, but I think, you know, we have ebbs and flows of majors. They come in for 2 years and they go. Sometimes we have good ones. Sometimes we have people that we wish did a better job. But Major Okamoto is, you know, one of the best that we've worked with. And we're really excited about his leadership and sort of his can-do attitude. The partnerships we have with Chair Waters right now, I think have never been stronger, and him helping the community. We're really grateful for that. Again, mayor, governor, the whole gamut. So we have a lot of momentum, homelessness-wise, public safety-wise. And again, I think we're only coming up with newer ideas, but I'm happy to answer any questions on this. And as we grow in the initiatives we have, and yeah, it's not perfect yet. And I want to leave with that is, you know, we're not complacent in our organization. We like to improve, right? Waikīkī Business Improvement District. And we're never complacent. We still have the foot on the gas. We're still coming up with new ideas, still trying to find other avenues of funding to help our community and really make it thrive. So happy to answer questions. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Trevor? We're here.
All right.
Anybody?
The first. Greg, no?
I just want to say that was a remarkable report, and thank you for the effort you're making.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Well, hang on. I need Anson to unmute Greg here for a second, but do you want to put in a plug for your WBID event for next week, I think?
Yeah, we're getting full. I know I sent personal invites to all the board members. I think there was one of you guys that doesn't have your email on your thing, so we got to check that. I don't know who it was, but yeah, we're having I think it was you. Yeah. All right. Well, we're having our annual meeting on Tuesday of next week at Sky Waikīkī. Like I said, it's getting full. So if you guys, there might not be a chair for you if you guys haven't RSVP'd yet, but please RSVP. We'll make it work. We'll have room. Yes. It's a good problem to have. Everyone wants to come hear what's going on in Waikīkī. But it's a sort of a more professional, you know, longer version of what I just said. We'll have some guest speakers. Major will be there. There will be a lot of hotel stakeholders there as well. And we do our annual meeting. We go over our budget and sort of our next year's strategy as well. We're going to be talking about, I don't know if I think he mentioned it at the last meeting, but Rick Egged is retiring from the Waikīkī Improvement Association. He's been with the organization for about 27 years. And we're coming up with a management alignment where a lot of the organizations that are already existing in Waikīkī, like the Beach Special Improvement District, the Transportation Management Association, and the BID, could be managed under one umbrella by our team at the WBID as Rick retires. So we'll be going over that at the annual meeting. And I think it's only going to add alignment. It's only going to save dollars that we could put back onto the street. We're paying less salaries to do the same work. So it's going to be, I think, overall better for the community that we're doing this. So we'll have a lot of details there, but
I've gone before. It's a good event. It's very informative as well. So I would certainly encourage anybody to go if you got the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I think
Greg.
Greg.
Thank you. Aloha, Trevor. How are you? Good to see you.
Aloha. Good to see you too.
So yeah, unfortunately, I'm in the neighborhood where things are moving down to where I live. Just a few days ago, I just took a walk to go to the bank, and going through the King Kalakaua Parklet where Kuhio and Kalakaua are. There were two people doing drugs, kind of hiding next to the trash can near the fountain, the water feature. And then there was three people sleeping right next to them. They all looked like they were part of some, transient group. So I did call police non-emergency to report it. When I came back from the bank, one of the people was still there next to the trash can, and I saw 4 police vehicles on the side street. And I don't know if that was related to my call. Maybe the one that had drugs ran. I don't know, but I've noticed a lot more coming, sleeping in the areas. So there's that concern. And then on the ATVs, just a quick question, and to wrap it, are those ATVs street legal where they can drive on the roads, or only for like crossing Fort DeRussy or the beaches and things like that?
I believe they're street legal. HPD currently has ATVs that patrol the beach at night.
Right.
The intent with this donation is they would have them during the day. I think it's like a dual. Don't quote me on this, Greg. I'm not sure of the law, but I am almost positive they have like a registration and be on the street, and then you could also HPD has some sort of jurisdiction to drive on the sand in the parks. But I don't know the exact law on that. But in terms of your point on the residential areas, yeah, we agree loud and clear, and the data proves that they're going in these sort of side streets. One initiative that we're trying to think of, right? We have this private property trespass program with small businesses, whether it's even big business like ABC stores, Denny's, but even some of these smaller retailers that might not have the budget to hire a private security guard overnight to get people out of their doorways, that they could sign up with the WBID. It's sort of a fee for service type thing, and we could sort of act as their private security, and we do spot checks. That's how we've really been able to reduce the number on Kalakaua and Kuhio. I think there is a way that we could do it with maybe HOAs and buildings, right? Where I know some buildings have security, some don't. And we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars. We come up with a reasonable rate that makes sense for the HOAs, but to have the ambassador team kind of do spot checks around your building. Again, it's a concept we're trying to brainstorm around, and maybe there's interest, maybe there's not, but I think we want to build out a really robust plan and present it to the HOAs to see if it's a fit, and then hopefully it could help that area. Because again, I think the strategy is we want to make it hard to sleep outside in Waikīkī, and the reason being is so that people get help. We don't want to incentivize behavior that people are sleeping, because it's nice out, right? It's not like we're Seattle. It's not like we're Vancouver where it's super cold out and these people are going to die on the street. It's sometimes nicer to sleep outside. It gets hot in my house. I don't know about you guys. So, but if we make it hard to sleep outside, and then we're able to have the support to get them into the shelter or into the respite center, the better. But yeah, let me know if you guys are interested. Like I said, if we build out this initiative where we maybe pitch these HOAs on it, it could be a good concept, because we're just, just like any other organization, we're just strapped with money, right? We need the funding to be able to hire more people, more trucks to go around more areas of Waikīkī. So if we could come up with some innovative ways to get some more funding to go into areas where there's not businesses, that could be something that we could partner on potentially.
Thank you. Just to clarify, it's not so much HOAs I'm concerned about. I live in a high-rise residential homeowners association.
Well, yeah, I guess owners association, maybe is the wrong word. Tower association.
No, it's not even that. It's the businesses. It's right on the corner of Kalakaua and Keoneana Street and Pau Street. And there's the businesses that front there, and there's just the surrounding hotels, Fort DeRussy, the whole area that you mentioned. And I'd love to get together with you, and I can give you some strategic locations. Sometimes I take photos and I can share with you.
Please. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Greg.
Aloha. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? If nothing else, then.
Yeah, I think, John brought up a good point. It's something I didn't touch on, and I think it's another shout out.
You have a question?
Yeah, I think he just yelled it. But in terms of the city and how we're partnering with city's core, right, and the core department, and we've seen, sort of this growth, I feel, of like what core started out as and what they're doing currently. And I think it's tremendous, the work that they're pivoting towards, and what we're seeing. And I think another reason why we saw this massive reduction in the past like 6 to 12 months is that the city's core team now, they have a new policy and a new law that passed called MH3s, where it is someone that is at risk to themselves or others. That they're, the person, they're yelling and they're in the road and they're totally out of it. They're at risk. They might attack me. They might, kill themselves. We don't know what they're going to do. Now, and it's very unique around the country, but there's a law that says if a doctor says, hey, this person, is they need to go, CORE could come and take them essentially in their van, kicking and screaming, right? Where maybe a city like Seattle or San Francisco, there's a lot of those, we don't want to do that, right? The civil liberties argument. But the state of Hawaii passed the law that says, hey, if again, they're at risk to themselves, they're at risk to the community, we should remove them from the street, or take them to a respite center or a hospital, get them medicated, get them out of psychosis, and then they're able to, go back into society. That's been a game changer. And CORE has really stepped up that game. And I give all the credit to the state and the city for passing the laws, and then Chair Waters and Mayor for investing in this initiative. But we want to see more of that. I think they're kind of piloting it. They're starting it out. It's working in Waikīkī. If we could just pour more resources into that initiative, I think we would see a tremendous amount of help. But then I guess the other issue is where do you get all these people off the street, where do you put them, right? There's no, you need those kind of beds and state hospital assistance, right, to back that up. So that's a whole other, I worry about our block, I'm not, but someone else is fully on it to figure out. Yeah, question.
Oh, Denise.
Hi. I see a lot of the ambassadors sweeping around bus stops and wherever, they're doing, but there are people lying on the benches. There are people standing, waiting for the bus around the bench because they can't sit down. But the ambassador doesn't seem to be doing anything about it. They're just like moving along. Are they supposed to report to anyone if someone is violating a sit-lie law or acting inappropriately? Like there's some, pretty, I don't know, they're drinking and they're,
Oh yeah.
doing whatever. Do the ambassadors do anything besides like sweep a little bit?
That's a great question. And yes, they do. We have different teams of ambassadors. So we do have the sweepers and the power washers that you see. We have what we call elevated safety ambassadors. And currently right now they operate mainly on like Kuhio Beach Park and then Kalakaua, kind of near the church area and the McDonald's. But they are meant to address sit and lies. And we have stats out there. I think the Star Advertiser maybe did a story about a year ago on, and maybe I think it was a Civil Beat, but we could send it to you, on the impact the ambassadors have on taking the burden off HPD on enforcing those types of things. We address it. I would say, again, don't quote me on these numbers, but I would say we probably have a 90% compliance rate when an ambassador approaches someone and says, hey, you can't lay here on the sidewalk. Can you please get up and move along? When they don't, like say the person at the bus stop, I don't know the rules on bus stop. I know there's kind of, maybe John does and he could answer. I know there's some loopholes in sit and lie, right? Like the people that are in wheelchairs, they could just sit there because they're in the wheelchair. But to answer your question, yes, they do it. And if you see them not doing it, please call our office and we'll get on it. Because that's a big part of their role, no matter if they're sweeping or no matter if they're a security guard. And again, I think we've seen this massive reduction because they do a lot of it, but we're not perfect. So please send it in. If you see someone not doing their job, let me know because we'll make sure they do it. But John, I don't know if you have any follow-up on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. But no, thank you guys. Yeah, I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much, Trevor. All right, let's get the minutes approved from the last meeting. That's the last item here. Anybody or everybody look at them and read them? Anybody got any comments? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Jeff is out. Jillian, you got a subject. Catherine, you got a, okay, there's no chair report. I think we're good. Yeah? Okay. Motion adjourned. I think we're adjourned.